Yo, Freddie.
Sherry, as usual, a Sunday podcast. Welcome everyone to the show. Today we have yet another special guest.
Shenzhen legend.
Shenzhen legend for many reasons. A lot of you might know a lot of the fortunate and less fortunate stories. For sure, all of you know him for the White Collar Fight Night. John Graham.
Yeah.
Shenzhen legend. Welcome to the show.
I like that. That's good. Yeah, I mean, this is a... first and foremost, thanks, guys, for giving me a platform.
Oh, it's our pleasure, man.
I love talking about my good times and bad times. And I think it's kind of the way that, you can get through a lot of stuff is if you just share it, right?
Right.
It's not helpful just to keep it to yourself and get angry, and it's better to get it out, get the information out, and some people could benefit from it. Like a lesson could be learned. People
Yeah,
could
you
say,
have quite the story. So
if you want to get deep down into the case,
you have a podcast yourself, by the way, that we will share all the links.
Yeah, that's just for shits and giggles. That was, again, like I was saying, because it's a way to defuse the pent up aggression, perhaps, and the sort of the tension that I have about the case and everything and how long it took and all this. It's a learning process as well as like you're failing all the time and you're trying new things. So it was just a way to get just to release, and get in front of them and start sharing. And actually, it works. It really, really works to be able to diffuse that tension. It helps you get through the day, especially when you hear some news about you got this, you lost this, and that appeal was rejected, and that was you need stuff like this, right?
Well, let's start like from the very beginning before
the shit hit the fan.
Yeah, before you got into legal problems or whatever the fuck happened. You were a young fucking athletic dude. You showed up at the doors of Shenzhen or China one day.
Knock knock.
Yeah. Like what brought you here and like?
Yeah, I came here with my dad originally, and my dad was a lecturer, and he was
like a professor or like
no, he just lectured behavioral studies. He wasn't. It wasn't professor status. But he was extremely relaxed, and I kind of had an adventure here, and he was encouraged me to go explore my adventure.
How old were you at this time?
I would have still been in school, so I would have been about 18.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Just a reminder, don't tap the table too much.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise we're going to pick it up.
That's right.
So you were 18.
Yeah, and it's funny you with the fitness kind of came much later. I was just working out and just enjoyed working out. My brother actually came and visited me, and he was saying, "Oh, you like training in the gym a lot. You should train people and get paid for it." And I remember when he told me that, I didn't even know it was a thing. Like I thought he just made that up. I thought I was like, you can do that.
Trainers?
It's like teaching people to tie their shoes. No, you can't. That's not the. Like I didn't actually think it was an actual profession that actually there's so much money in it, right?
Right.
And then he kept telling, you should look this up, and I was that sounds interesting. And then once I decided, that's what I wanted to do. California, they have ISSA, and that's where I got to that. I pushed to get.
I have no idea what ISSA is.
That's just it's International Sports Sciences Association. It's like an accreditation body that gives you the stamp of approval that allows you to train people.
So you're from California?
I'm from Australia, but I spend a lot of time in California.
Okay.
Since being in Shenzhen, I've actually spent more time in California than any other country, even more so than Australia.
Look, I didn't even know you were Australian.
Yeah. And California is probably more. I would be more familiar with California.
I can see you on Venice Beach.
Yes,
Muscle Beach, pumping
the Mecca of bodybuilding. Yeah,
not so much anymore, but back in the day, man.
Yeah,
that was Arnold would be there.
Well, still now.
Yeah, that was where the journey began. And of course, I would go to the Olympia in Vegas every year. Just being on Venice Beach, Huntington Beach, all these you get really into fitness. But it was sort of started off as personal training. That was the thing. You train people, you get paid for it. So I kind of pursued that. I got my certification to be able to do that. And then it was.
But you're already living in China.
Yeah, it was kind of between China and California.
Okay.
My parents left, but I there was an adventure here. There was something here that kind of kept bringing me back. In California, it was a bit too expensive when at my age, but back then. So, but California did give me a lot of inspiration when it came to fitness. But then when I launched my brand here, John Graham Fitness, it was I was the only foreign trainer in all of South China, even.
Right.
And
This would have been like what, like 8 years ago or something like that.
more like 12.
12 years
Yeah,
ago.
more like 12 years ago. And I was busy very fast. Like I remember Monday, it was a 16-hour day. Each hour was a paid session. That one day, because that's, Monday everyone's like, I need to get back into working out, right?
Right.
So everyone wants that slot, right? But yeah, I remember I got busy very quickly, very, very quickly. And and not just by the expats that were here, but also by Chinese that wanted the foreign trainer.
Right.
Like, oh, you must know what you're doing. I was like, yeah, well, I think so.
I just heard about it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a nice smile. Yeah, it's funny. I had the Mission Hills.
There were the golf courses.
Yeah, the world's Guinness World Record Mission Hills, like this massive company. They wanted a fitness director, and I was like, can you do golf fitness? And there was a lady there, Cindy Reed, who kind of coached me on the mechanics of golf and how they related to fitness. So I quickly understood it, but I was then, once I was in that network,
That went bank immediately.
yeah,
Yeah. You had big money
insane.
clients.
Yeah, I would be training like China tour players, like all of China's top tour players. And these guys are active. They're playing a course, like they're on a tournament in China easily every weekend, maybe for the majority of the year. So working with them, you get a high profile. I remember I did a little fitness show on golf fitness, and that was on the Golf Channel, the Chinese version of Golf Channel. So then that came, and then the next thing after that was my first gym, which was Fusion in Sherco.
Right.
And that was anyone who remembers that gym, they say that was the best gym.
I remember the name, but
Yeah, it was created with a lot of passion and excitement, and there was a lot of love behind the gym.
And you designed the whole space, and
Yeah, it was a big block. It was like I don't want to say design, not in front of you. We'll put the bench press there. That's the entrance. That was about it. Yeah, it was this massive area in this warehouse right near the peninsula. And our rent, it was huge. It was a monster gym, and our rent was like 20,000 renminbi. It's like the price of an apartment in Peninsula.
Wow.
Like it was so dirt cheap. So we had this big area for dance. We had a big area for weights, a big area for cardio machines. But the problem was with that is, honestly, looking back on it, we just weren't good at. I wasn't that good at business. I was good at curling, but that was it. Like didn't have.
so you started Fusion with partners, or like?
Yeah, a load of partners. But these partners, they obviously had other businesses, they had jobs and everything. And at the end of the day, it was my responsibility, and Josh, and my business partner, it was our responsibility to make the gym work. But it was our first business, and we were kind of still figuring it out. And so our passion, that was kind of like where I first started to learn how you do need to know the mechanics a little bit. You can't just be all passion and excitement. Yeah, let's go. You need to have some kind of a plan, right?
Right.
Because that's at least how I was. I was just go, excited. I was a very excited, energetic person that people thought that they could rely on me, because I would do the work, but I didn't have much guidance on the step-by-step process of creating a business that is sustainable, right? That's safe, that you're not going to be chasing your rent every month. But that gym was, there's a lot of good memories there. Then me and Josh broke off from that partnership crew. We went into another gym business in Futian, and that's where that's actually that gym is where the case came from.
That's where all the problems.
That was and then
With a new partner.
So is Fusion still?
Fusion,
there,
that
or is it
whole
finished?
warehouse building is gone.
Oh, they
not
destroyed
there
it. Oh.
It's all flat, and not even that warehouse building, but there was like 2 other warehouses next to it that are all gone.
Yeah.
And the area that is, it's like a little bit of it's like the point out into the water. So whatever they have planned there is going to be really pretty. If it's a hotel or something, it'll be a very nice, right on the edge of the water kind of spot.
Well, it sounds like an amazing location.
It'll be
for
good.
a
Yeah.
gym.
Yeah, you would be running and you'd be looking out into the water. It was a beautiful
That's
place.
amazing.
Nice.
So you left Fusion, and then you met some new people.
Yeah, it
You
was
knew- you
me,
knew some new
Josh, and
people?
then another guy. We opened up Fresh, and then from there came Fresh Dongguan. There was a gym in Dongguan we built, and that was with a partnership with my brother,
Okay.
who was there. And then, meanwhile, at that time, Fusion, we got our eviction notice from the warehouse. So then we needed to build a new gym in SeaWorld, which was near. It's actually very right across the road from SeaWorld, near the new mall. So that was
Okay.
Fusion. We didn't call it 2.0 because we did actually redo the gym. We had a Fusion 2.0, so that would have been like Fusion 3.0.
Right.
Yeah, and so all of these kind of juggling between all of these, that was a good challenge. But yeah, a gym business it's an exciting business. People, you own a gym. It's a good conversation at a bar, right? But at the end of the day, it's very, very taxing. It's a very taxing business. Even people that are in gym businesses now in Shenzhen, I encourage them, like you, if there's a way that you can, give the responsibility to someone more capable or
Structured.
because you're just always fighting for your rent.
So what do you
Always
think the
fighting for your
hardest
rent.
part about owning a gym is? Something like the marketing,
And
keeping people there on a monthly basis.
It's sort of like a formula. So you'll have a certain size that you can afford as rent. Rent in Shenzhen is crazy, right? So you're like, I think I can afford this rent, but then the rent that you can afford, the gym business is kind of small, so you can't pack it with members. And usually when someone buys a membership, the price must be a certain point, right? Because they're like, oh, what about the Total Fitness over there, or another big gym chain that has a big China fund backing it? They'll set the membership rate, right? So if we either match that, or if we're more expensive, we have to justify why it's more, right?
What do you offer? that
Yeah,
these guys
so they're
don't?
like, oh, we give you free water, or we have towels, or we have this cool thing, or that. We have to do something, right? But we have a limited space, so we can't really sell a lot of memberships. We have to focus on personal training. And the mechanics of running a good PT operation, you need good trainers that sell well, and even them, if there's 3 trainers on the floor, the gym's full, right? And then 4 trainers, no one else
space
can run
physically,
unless
yeah.
someone's just doing a running, right? So you want them to be busy, but then also you are selling a membership. You're trying to juggle it all so that it's a perfect formula of a little bit of members, but then also the PTs are busy. And when the PTs, they need to be motivated to train clients to get full to where you're like, okay, now our revenue is at a good point, right? But if they're tired, or they're not so motivated, or they're kind of looking to leave the gym and go into another one, you have to see that quickly and bring someone else in.
Right.
Because it's just a constant, juggling game.
And I bet you that the PTs jump around a lot too, right? It's hard to find the
They don't
loyal
care.
staff.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
Because a PT, I give them we have to pay them a salary. So they're paid a salary to be on the gym floor and to be part of the company. That you shouldn't have outside PTs come in. This part-time personal trainer will kill your business, because they'll take all your members and they'll just go away, right?
Right.
So you want the trainer to be your trainer. That's our guy. He's wearing our shirt, right? So you pay him a salary, and usually that salary for most PTs they can get by with on a month. So they kind of sit in the gym and they're like,
Customer,
and maybe
no customer.
yeah, and they may sell one client, or may have two a week, But then you'll also have ones that are good. They'll do 5 sessions a day or 6, right?
Okay.
Not as much as I was doing, because that was I was a freelance, right? But you'll have ones that are doing good. But and so you're kind of weighing up, well, maybe I don't need to pay you. Maybe your clients you can give to her, and then I can fire you and keep that. I don't have to pay you that salary, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a bit of and again, I'm not saying, I mean, now going back, I would have done a much better job, but back then I wasn't experienced enough to really run a good PT operation. Like one that actually was not just breaking even, but was like getting us in the green. That was, it was a massive challenge.
It takes time. I mean, it was your first experience. You were still also quite young, and managing cost and managing people, not knowing how many do you arrive, how much it would cost. It's not easy, man.
Yeah, our little gym, Fresh, the one that we'll talk about, that was $55K, was just the rent plus management salaries. Like it was 100, 150 or more, 180 they would have to pay out every month. So if a client comes to the gym and they're paying, so the membership money just pays for the electricity. It's like, doesn't do anything. So you want to sell a big PT package, but that PT package, that isn't earned, that's not profit. That is we owe that, right? If Freddie comes in and buys 50 sessions, I owe him those 50 sessions. And I need to pay a trainer so how much are we making on his first 50 session? But I would need to have 10 people a day buy 50 sessions for us to start like, okay, now we can repair that machine that everyone's complaining about. Now we can upgrade the towels that are like starting to fall apart. Now we've got some cash that we can actually start to upgrade it, and maybe, launch some new special, or, do like a new paint job, or add something like this, or add, start adding free water on Sundays, at this particular time or something. Like all those ideas, there's so much cost. So you kind of are like trying to get some cash in the bank to do stuff to then take you to another level, right? So you are actually at the level that you're saying to your customers and all your promotions you're at. Because when someone comes in, they're like, whoa, this isn't as nice as I thought it would be. Or as you say it, as you promoted it yesterday in the bar when you were telling me to come, right?
Right.
But so you're kind of always fighting to do that, but then also you're like, but man, I had to, I couldn't pay myself this month, so I'm now like trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my rent, as the owner. So I'm now borrowing from a buddy to pay my rent because my own business can't pay me, and I'm trying to say, oh yeah, we're going to fix that machine very soon, don't worry. That was my life, like for the majority of my life. It's just
seems like you were making more money doing like personal training as a freelancer than
that's right,
owning the facility.
Yeah, and in the partnership that we had, I brought all my clients there. That was something I would push my clients in. But that's another thing. I lost a lot of clients, right? So because the location changed, so I would make a lot of money being freelance because I could bounce around, right? But then once I'm like, I have this gym. I invested in this gym. You need to help me by coming here. They're like, it's too far. I don't want to go. Yeah. I'm going to go get trained by that guy.
So one is from Sheco, come all the way to Fudian, and the other way around for training.
It just doesn't. There's so many things that make the gym business make it really, really tough. Really, really tough. I'm not saying some businesses are easier, but there are businesses that you can do that are challenging, that just will still be better than the gym business. Right?
No, I get it. Also because, you literally have to work with the people physically. So also the location, geographically, timing, all these things are important. You need to be with those people, as long as you don't do then online courses, but that's...
Also, I think too, like, as a gym business, like, depending on the space that you have, there's only a certain amount of money you can reach.
That's it. Yeah.
And there's no more ceiling above that.
Yeah.
Unless you start doing like making your own product and you're selling your your brand product online.
Yeah. Selling
or some other way to
opening a second one.
Yeah, the second one. Okay, but then again, it's like not like I open a shop online that sells beer or whatever, and then.
Yeah, there's only
the sky's the limit as far as customers can go. But with the gym and the physical space, it's like
you always reach a limit.
You reach a limit, and then
saturation of the.
And then you're cut unless you start opening another one or.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing some other kind of
good learning experiences. Very good. Really, looking back on all of it now, there's 100 things you would always, but everybody has that, right? Everyone's life is. Yeah, if I would have gone back, I would have changed this. That's of course you would. But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good, interesting learning. Getting out of the gym business was definitely a good move. The last gym that I built was in partnership with the company that is now my parent company for the fight night.
Right.
So they have an online video platform at the time. They wanted to be like the Beachbody of China. Beachbody, I think they own P90X, T25, all of these big workout videos, like the infomercials, you would see them,
Middle of the
the
night.
DVDs would come to your door, right? Yeah. So back then that China didn't have a Beachbody. So he wanted to build the Beachbody, and he wanted like an offline sort of showroom that he could display as like, yeah, we're not just a bunch of guys in an office. We're a gym business as well, and we have this product, and you can invest in this. So the last gym we built was with him was Project 01, and that was the idea of that was actually it was quite a brilliant idea because it was built in High Tech Park, which is like the tech center of Shenzhen, and we personified the gym into James Bond, who we kind of felt he translated the ultimate fitness experience for the tech people of Shenzhen. He can download a file, while the guys are trying to get into the door, and he can like run on a train and do a backflip and do all this kicking. So we were like,
while in a suit.
Yeah, while in a suit, right? Yeah. I was like, yeah. So our communication to the fitness community here, the tech community here was, be like James Bond. Don't just sit at the desk all day and do programming. Be like James Bond. You don't need to be big and strong, but use him as your sort of model of what fitness is for a tech person, right?
Nice.
That was kind of how that was the idea.
You had some good marketing on Project 01.
Yeah.
I remember all kinds of like different posters you guys were doing. And then
it was the gym was our version of a reconstruction of MI6. Mm-hmm. So there was a secret door, and you would come in, and there was a whiskey bar. A whiskey bar, and it was like
it was actually operating bar.
An operating bar, full on bar there.
So
yeah, all these expensive whiskeys, everything. That was all part of like the capital injection. It was like, yeah, you got to buy these whiskeys. You have to. And the parent company was like, oh, okay,
makes sense. Right?
We'll trust you, John. I was like, think about this. It's a bar. And they were like, oh, it's nice. It's a good, nice idea. Right? So it was, we had the whiskey bar, and then upstairs we had the sort of this meeting room that came out. It sort of jetted out. It looked like Dr. Evil's lair kind of thing. And there was a glass window, and you could look up and see, you could stand there and watch people work out. It looked very MI6's, right?
Nice.
But again, it was an eviction notice. Building was going to be torn down. But before that happened, the fight night happened. And the investors were kind of like, well, why don't...
The fight night happened at...
Yeah, Project 01. Project 01, it's such an interesting idea. Something, we could talk for hours about like just the concept of this whiskey bar and gym together.
And you had like a little restaurant, or had a plan to have a little deli or something
upstairs.
Yeah,
there was all these, it was a great place for ideas. And the concept of it, what it actually gave birth to was the fight night. And then that's when the investors were like, we don't need a gym. Let's go lighter. Let's go into, it wasn't WeWork. We went into one of those incubator ones, like the shared offices. Yeah. And that's when it was just like, just do the fight night. It's a lot lighter. We can encourage other gyms to provide us with fighters, and we just focus on the event, and we build the platform. So that was kind of, even though Project 01 was a tough one for me to lose. Like every time a gym closed, I'd always like have a day where I'd like, you cry.
That was the hardest.
That was the hardest one because it was so different. It was
nice.
It was so different. Like the thing about what made Project 01 special was I could invite anybody there. Because anyone felt comfortable. When you go to a gym, you're like, where are we gonna sit? Like, why is there so much pink here? Like, what is it? Like, it's too aggressive. It's too many colors. It's too much health. There's people, there's movement. There's music going on. Whereas Project 01 was like a sick little, MI6 dungeon. Yeah.
Every other at the bar or
very
the
chill.
office.
Yeah, anyone would want to come there. They're like, oh, can I swing by after work? Let's just, you could just sit at the bar and talk. You could like buy a beer. It was just a really cool place to be. So I think a lot of, like, if that could continue, I would have leveraged that a lot and just had, big executives come in. You invite an executive to a gym. He's like, he doesn't want to be there. No, let's go to a coffee shop or you come to my office. But if you bring them to a place like that, he's like, he's like, this is cool. This is really cool. There's like, it's a whole, like, we had a red leather couch, like that real plush red, and you could sit there and have a cigar, and it was like, yeah.
So before you got the eviction notice, though, like the gym was good and healthy and making money, like,
yeah,
you guys were in the green.
It's great. Everybody was happy. There was all these different plans of like how we were going to package the gym and then sell, sell the license so people could make their own ones, right? And it was right in High Tech Park. So we had all these, Rocky, the CEO of the parent company, had all these people coming in, all these big tech executives that would come in. It was a real beautiful thing to show people and show what we could do. So that was something, it was hard to lose it. But and then with the event with WCFN, if there's no event on, there's nothing to come to, right? It was like, yeah, we'll come to you. That even that shared office space, that wasn't really anything, right? So that was kind of where WCFN, we had to really push to drive to get events going, and then meet people, because events, honestly, it's just a way for people to meet people. It's just a marketing arm that you try to push people into different projects in the back. And you're just saying, come look at the event, and maybe we can do something, right? So WCFN, right?
Right.
Which started from Project
01.
Actually, I remember we had
Project
a conversation
01.
Before Project 01. We were sitting at Baya talking about fight nights.
Before
it ever existed, and I'm really fucking glad, like, from just being a concept, just over beers, to what it's become now. It's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's good if it becomes something, and that's what I'll get to, because it's been a good learning experience, the fight night. It's extremely good, but I don't know what's coming, right? It's the one time, because of COVID this year, I don't know what to do next year with the fight night, because the world's changed, right? And it's very expensive to do events. Everyone likes it, it's good, but it is, if you pick the most expensive thing that you can do, it's run an event, right? It's easier to run an online event or to do some, other form of marketing. It's a very, I'm really passionate about it. I'm very passionate about getting people together and making them fight, but nothing is more stressful and takes more out of me than that.
I can imagine.
I bet if I never started the fight night, I probably could have started 10 other businesses, right? It's such a stressful business. But yeah, but the formula of how I do it, I have that is something I've always wanted to share. Like, I was thinking it'd be fun to do a talk event where I would say I'll share with my formula for it, of how I do it, right? And then if someone sees the formula and they refine it, maybe everybody else can start it.
Right.
But because everyone will have a different, there's a way that I do it, and it does work. If I do it this way, if I do it the way I do, it will always come out. You just pedal to the metal. You just push. There's so much grind, It's like, imagine, this, you're in some movie where the wall is like closing in,
it's like Star Wars, right?
And you're like, you're just holding it. And that position I've been in so many times for the fight night.
Right.
And I'm just used to it. And there's something where I know I can actually push it the other way. Like, I don't know. It's just a way I keep redoing the formula, and for some reason I can get it. I've never had a cancellation. I've never been like, hey, everyone,
sorry,
2 days before the event, it's not happening. I've never had that. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But I think that may happen as you go bigger, right? As you go bigger and bigger and bigger. then you
But
might.
you think that mostly because of because of the third parties involved, or
Yes.
because of,
Yeah. It's
And not
sort
necessarily the fight. It's the
Yeah.
fighters, but the
Yeah, and it's even a bit about the fighters as well. It's the way that I've learned it. So how it works is like the first part, let's just say the fighters, right? So the way it starts is, for me, it's always started where a fighter I've really been impressed about their determination to do this challenge. I've been like, wow, I want to give you this. I want to work hard so that you can have this, because someone did that for me in Shanghai. When I was trained in Shanghai to boxing, there was an event that happened, and I want to do the event. I put my name down, right? And when I did the event and I won my first fight, that feeling, I remember that feeling, and I'll never forget that feeling. And that feeling is, if you give that to people will never forget it. You'll have your big Fortune 500 company, you'll have, a big family, and you have your great car and your model wife or whatever, but you'll talk to people about your fight.
that one night.
You'll say, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about this. And then you'll pull down the trophy and say, let's talk about this. I have guys that tell me the story about their fight from one of the events that I did. And they tell the same story every time I see them.
Wow.
And they say it the exact same way. Oh, yeah, do you remember the fight? Yeah, bro, I know. Yeah, and then, he swung down, and then he gets so excited. He gets everyone involved. He's like, hey, did you remember that? And everyone's like, yes. And he doesn't, it's a point in his time where he's like, yeah, I put on 2 gloves. I got into a ring and I boxed. Like that alone is like, it's people's bucket list. People will talk about that, maybe the only thing that could rival that is like if you climb to Mount Everest, but no one's going to be like, oh yeah, but I ran a marathon, and they're good job.
there were 1,000 of them. Yeah.
Oh, I clean and jerk 200 kgs. Okay, that's enough. We don't. Okay, tell us about your fight. It's just that thing. People. It's a thing. Dana White says it really well, where it's something that's in our DNA as people. Two people fighting is so key part of us as primal human beings. We'll always have fight. Dana White said, like, no matter what happens in the world in the future, even when the world ends and we all blow each other up, there'll still be the sport of fight. People will still want to watch this. There's something that is so primal and connecting.
Yeah.
I mean, the Romans built a huge Colosseum just to watch people fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how long table tennis is going to last, but I know that fighting is it's in us.
Always
we need
gonna
it.
be there.
We thrive off it, right? Even when people go, oh, that's so bad, I don't want to watch it, they still understand what's happening enough so where they are repulsed by it, right? It's sort of
it's like
everyone
animal
knows.
instinct of survival. I don't know. It's something that
Yeah. And that's something really. And when you give somebody that and they fight and they win, and they tell me, John, you changed my life, and they'll say, oh, they'll quote poems to me, right? They'll say the most cheesy stuff, and I'm like, yeah, awesome, yeah, man, it's good. You're not gonna tell me this tomorrow, but I'm glad that you're in this state, this emotional state, to share this with me now, because it's good. I like that. That's why I do it, right? But yeah, it starts with the fighters. So step 1 is like getting the fighters going. You'll have someone that's like, yeah, I want to fight. I really want to fight.
And like 24 people.
Yeah, and then I just start building the card. I just start matchmaking. And the key thing you got to do, for anybody watching that is passionate about starting their own fighting, is you straight away start making matchups. Straight away. You're like, you know what? You could fight this guy. You tell this to someone, and so that person is in their brain.
Boom. Okay.
And then you tell that guy, and you create this conversation. Oh, I'd beat him up. And I even try to lock fights as early on as possible, because that's where the buzz happens.
They start talking about telling their friends.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to fight him, man. He's like 100 kgs. I'm only 80. It's fine. I'll beat him. And that goes. Right? Or I'll be in a bar, like, just 2 nights ago, I was in George and Dragon.
Right.
A really good buddy of mine is like, hey, what do you think about me fighting this guy? And I'm like, hey, let's find out. And I messaged him. And that talk is still going on. It's still going on. And they love it. They all enjoy this part, right? But are their weights right? Probably not. They're probably, I'll have to change and say, no, you can't fight that guy. You have to fight
So
this
you
guy.
want allowed 2 different weight classes
Yeah,
to
it's
fight?
not safe. But in the beginning, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just push it through. Just get the buzz going. And then later, like as you start to really lock the card, then you say, look, you've got way more experience than him. I've seen him box. I've seen his video. You would destroy him. You have to fight this guy. But none of them care because they're so emotionally invested up to that point. They're
Just
like,
to
oh,
fight.
They will go
just
on.
give me anyone.
I'm gonna kill her.
I'll take anyone. It's fine. You just tell. You decide, John. You,
choose for me.
decide. I don't even want to know.
But anyway, also like the rules are kept for being quite safe. Anyway, it's max 3 rounds, right? And,
Yeah,
and
3 2-minute rounds,
Which is
16
actually a
ounce
short
gloves.
time for fighting.
Very short. Very short. It's like a blitz. Yeah, and it's 16 ounce gloves and headgear.
Yeah, but
So-
one thing. So just talking about the headgear, I noticed that like different people wear different headgear. 'Cause I went
Yes.
to the last event. It was my first time going to your event.
Yes, that's right,
And,
dude.
like some guys have like the thing that covers their nose. Some have it like totally open.
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
does it make a difference? Or?
Yeah, because we have we have a Wacing. You know Wacing? Wacing is China's Everlast, right?
Right.
So Wacing, they have a competition set. They have a certain set that's like for competition, and that's for their amateur. Like all amateur boxers in China wear Wacing. So the competition, the amateur one is the one where it's full like this, right?
Also above the nose. There was
Nothing
one,
above
there
the
was
nose.
one-
So this
okay.
part is totally open.
Those are actually they're not competition, they're training. You can have training gloves and competition gloves.
Oh,
and they'll be very,
right.
very different. Like usually the training glove, the weight is like more heavy here. Whereas the competition glove, it's dispersed differently. Okay. There's a training glove and the same, right? The weight is a little different.
Right.
But yeah, the reason those because we only have a certain set of head, right? And when people put on the wraps, if you put your hand into a sweaty glove, it's not too bad. You're like, okay, it's fine. Okay. But if you put your head into a sweaty like headpiece, it really feels bad. You don't like it.
It feels nasty.
Right.
Yeah, you're like so I told the fighters, like, if you have headgear, it's fine. You can bring your own headgear because I don't have enough. And there are some guys that show up with the full one. But that would only like.
But in your opinion, does it make a difference?
I don't think it makes a difference to who wins the fight. Okay. It would only make a difference
if you get like popped in the nose or something.
Yeah, maybe if you get hit in the nose in a certain angle, maybe your nose would you start to bleed or something. But I don't think it would make a difference. In fact, if I were fighting, I wouldn't want that because I couldn't see. I wouldn't be able to see. I would want as much room as possible. I remember a couple of times. I was asking not to wear it because I can't see. It's something that like
it's like
a
a
little
horse blinders
constraining
or something.
Yeah, and if you're good at head movement, you would rather like even slip a few shots like they were just to dance off you and be able to see rather than not be able to see and then be protected against those shots.
Also, it makes it. I mean, that just brought a point to my mind is that when you wear the headgear, it's more space for them to actually hit you.
Yes.
Like a punch that might just glance on the top of your head.
Yeah, you can just tap it and you'll get points.
If you hit the headgear, you might actually like.
And actually, I wanted to know about this because when I saw the last one, at the end, I mean, I watched all the second, all the second phase, right? Second part. Every time I said, okay, I think this one won. Was the other one. I didn't get how the points were calculated.
Were scoring
just to really touch slowly, or how do they count the points?
Judging we can't be in charge of. Like I give the judging to this
official
this team, and the team actually the last event, both of the fighters that come from the gym that team is based, both of them won, and so I was. But that's another thing, like. I've got to use this team. if I don't like. I think the other. I know one other.
Why do you
team,
have to use the team though?
The team, they just bring the full package. And they're free.
But can't you get some friends to do it for free? I mean,
yeah,
easy,
but then
man.
there might be like, who's that guy?
Buy a bell on Taobao.
The bell I've got. I could. The only other thing is like I should have a foreigner judge.
Yeah.
But the foreign judge, the only guy I know was Sean, a really good buddy of mine. He works in Huawei. But he was like, no, I don't want to judge. I want to be, give me another job. He was ring manager.
Okay.
But the other team I could use is I would have to say, call to one gym and say, can you be ref? And then call to another gym and say, could you be a judge? I have to sort of piece the team together because you need three judges, 2 refs. They cycle, 1 timer. And then I think you need at least 2 others that can do both, that they can cycle it.
So the 3 judges are all from the same team?
All one team. They're all one.
Yeah, I mean, especially if a fighter comes from this from
Yes.
this gym.
That was the one. That was the one thing.
It should be like one guy from this team, one guy from that gym.
Yeah,
and then like a foreigner or a friend or anybody who.
Yeah,
knows
because
something
one
about
of them,
boxing.
one girl came up to me afterwards and she said, "I don't think I lost my fight." And even before, I tell each fighter, I message them. There's like a whole rule set that I message them, and I said, if you don't agree, as the promoter, I will support you doing a rematch, and I won't give on the official WCFN record, I won't give the win right away. So I say that, but the rule is you have to call for a rematch that night. You have to. So if we're fighting,
That 2 girl, that was the one I remember the most.
There was a blue in the last event. There was the blue girl.
Yeah.
And there was the girl that was wearing like the green sweatpants or something.
You know that was the other. Oh, the green sweatpants was from the team.
Yeah.
So she won, and then the other girl came to me, and I said, "Okay, we have to be quick because if you want," I said, "There's 2 options. We have to make the announcement now. So I'll get in the ring and I'll say, hey, I've got," and she'll say, "Listen," and she'll say it very, very professionally, that I didn't agree with the decision. I demand a rematch. And then I have to say, yes, I'm going to honor that. In the next event, there is a rematch. So both fighters
Agree
be
on
ready.
that, yeah.
And that's just part of like, that's the
I think
rule
it's
that
a good rule.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I said, "What do you want to do?" And she said, "No, I don't want to do that in the ring. I'm shy." So I said, "Okay, how about you do it on WeChat? We do an official post, and you put the camera up and you say, listen, this is and you can show the video."
Nice.
She said, "I have the video, my team," and I said, "Yeah, that absolutely." And she talked to me 2 days ago, and I said, "Do you still want to do it?" And she said, "Okay, I'm thinking about it." But who knows? That could be another, because when that happens, then I have to get another team. I call the guys up in Guangzhou that I know. They bring their full set over, and I say, "Okay, they're in Guangzhou. They don't know." So now it's a completely biased, right? It's going to be
Nice.
So that fight, and then the other female fight, she said as well, she's considering it because both those girls are from the
And they both
same
won.
team, and they both won.
Right.
I was like, guys, come on, you can't do this, right? It's like corrupt, right? It's a little bit,
it's a
even
little
though it's
bit-
white collar boxing.
We hope
It's a
no.
little bit shady,
But it was
Yeah.
strange, yes.
But yeah, that would be because then I also do want that rematch. I do. That's another fight, and I need that fight. It's a female fight.
That's a good fight.
That's a good
everyone
fight,
wants
yeah.
to watch females bash each other.
No, but also, simply I was wondering because sometimes they do points in a way that the audience is not aware. Like it needs to be at least done in a certain way, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if every time you touch is a point or.
I think it should be right. Every tag is a point. It should be.
And also, it's
yeah.
also an aggressiveness.
Ring control, how you move, how you slip and counter.
If you fall on a knee, like then you lose, or like literally how the scheme of points is
That's
made.
right.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
So I say, okay, maybe it happens because.
Yeah. I remember when the very first 3 events we did, we got it was Shenzhen, Guangzhou. We got the guys from Hong Kong to come. They have an official white collar boxing association, and they're all ex-cops from Hong Kong. And yeah, they charged I think it was like $16K plus travel to come in as a full team. And they've got the bow ties, they got the full kit. They come in, papers, bell, everything. They bring their
fight?
own shit. No, just to ref and judge.
Okay.
Ref, judge, and timer. Yeah.
Wow.
And they have like these special folders. Like I can look at the scorecard instantly and understand what's going on. You know,
Super pro.
It's not just like on a paper scribbled. It's like there's a section and it's all spaced out, fight number. And they even will ask us, give us the card, and they'll put their names in. So everyone has their. So,
you don't have your own templated scorecards?
Well, I could get them offline, but I'm hiring a team. I'm like,
how many times have you done fights? You need your own brand.
My own little WCFN. Yeah, and sometimes in events, I'd be so busy. I'd be like, "Are you the judge? Are you the judge?"
You don't even know.
And they don't have it. And I was like, "Just write it on a paper. R for red, B for blue." They're like, "Cool." I'm like, "Good," because I need 3 judges and I need you to write 1 letter. And you give those 3 papers to the ref. The ref looks and he's like, "There's 2 B's, blue 1." Right? That's it.
Okay.
But someone's like, what was my points and everything? I'm like, don't ask. Come on. Don't ask for, it's like asking for a UFC scorecard, right? They're like, what was my, it's like, no, you just lost. Keep it simple. Don't make it difficult. But I mean, it's been a good learning experience. The last event we did, they came in as the refs and the judges. We had, what was it? How many fights did we have? 13 fights, 2 female fights. There was 9 different countries, and Zhuhai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Dongguan, 4 cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Like when you say 4 cities,
Xiamen. And Xiamen, 5 cities.
Is the gyms that are training their fighter to come? Right.
Yeah, there were 2 guys that came all the way from Xiamen.
Nice.
They brought they got hotels. It was I was like, wow, well done. that's nice.
And most of the fighters are coming from the gyms that want to participate, or from the people that want to participate and they have a gym behind, or people that don't even have a gym and you put them in a gym.
Yeah, the fighters now. I've just got so many groups. Like I have a WCFN applicants group, a WCFN fighters group. I've got all these groups that anytime I say next event, who wants to fight? It's just so like because making the card, I'll do it for a certain period of time. I'll collect all the videos. I'll do my matchups. I'll give it to a friend of mine that I trust him, and I say, like, can you give me your opinion? And then if he says yes, that's a good card, then I won't look for any more fighters. Like I'll be like, that's it. I'm not adding anyone else. I'll move on to another.
But not all these fighters have a gym already. I guess.
Yeah. Most of them would already be training, and they would have either 1 or 2 gyms that they'd go to.
Oh, okay.
But what we had in the beginning when we started, it was.
I remember you were putting them together.
Yeah.
They were finding a sponsor that was covering the gym, and But that was taking a lot of time.
Yeah, that was taking too much time. That's taking way too much time. That's like the traditional. The old school way of doing it, where the guy says, I want to fight, and so you say, okay, 3 months from now we'll fight, but now you start a 3-month like camp. Right. I would prefer to go to a gym that already people are training in, and I'd say, you've been. But
you can do events more often and it's fast. Then of course,
that's better fights too. It's a better show for the audience as well. And
it's kind of it adds a bit of speed to it too. It's kind of I think I found that out a long time ago, that if the brand is to grow, I need to do more and more events, and I need like a surplus of fighters. I need a big bucket that I can just reach in and grab.
Do you feel like you have enough? I mean,
way. You
have enough fighters now.
Yeah. Like we had 17 fights in the beginning. It went down to 13 because a guy was injured. One guy was working. A guy hurt his toe. He was like, his mom came to town. So those fights, even though people were like, I'll match up, I'll step in. I said leave it at 13, because even 13, that was a full night. That was a really full night. And a normal night is 8 fights, right? So this event being outdoor, I was like, let's give it a bit more, right? We'll do a few extra fights. But just those other fighters, they're all waiting for the next one. And then not only that, but on the night, just the WeChat groups go. It just goes off.
Oh, the WeChat went crazy.
It goes off. Like everyone's like, yeah, I want to fight. Yeah, I want to get in.
This guy's a pussy.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah. It goes on and it's still going. It's still going.
I'm in one of these groups, man. They just for 3 days. And then it started getting so dirty and so many beyond fighting. One girl was like, this guy fucking harassed me. At the fucking school the other day. He's a bitch. I was like, Jesus. Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know you.
Yeah.
Hey, and some guy comes in and like wants to defend her. I'll fight you. Like, yeah, this is good. And that is like, I think out of that, there's already two matchups from that big ruckus.
Crazy.
There's at least two matchups. There is a rematch that really wants to happen. Both the
girls,
Ryan and David's fight, they want a rematch. Bernie and Kez, they want a rematch. So I think I've already got the card for next time.
Crazy.
I've already got the card.
Are you ready? You know when the next is going to happen? I mean, I guess now
Yeah,
it's
that's the tough part now, because
for sure after Chinese New Year, I guess.
yeah, because the event itself, actually, that last one really took a toll on me. That was a tough one. It took me like a week to recover. But that event, like
You were telling me on WeChat, you were thinking this was gonna be the last one.
yeah, I was because it was just because I had a budget, and the way I got the event paid was my parent company didn't want to be involved. My parent company, I'm partners with the CEO of my parent company.
So just to clarify, the parent company is still people that were involved with
Project 01. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a whole different business. They've got another journey, right? A whole different thing.
So they were backing the fight nights.
Yeah, that's another company. We're together.
And then later on they decided to step away from the fight nights.
Yeah, well, so we're in partnership together, but the CEO said I can't afford to do a fight night for December because December is our gala, so that's a hotel bill we pay.
Oh.
And that's like a hotel bill sometimes is like 300 plus.
That's crazy, yeah.
300 plus. That's like what we have to put forward, and we have to sell tickets to try to cover costs. And of course, we never cover costs. We always lose money. And so the CEO is like, I can't afford to do that now because they're launching their product right now. So they're putting all their attention there. So I was like, no, I can do this. I got this. Don't worry.
Hold my beer.
Making position.
Yeah. So I was like, worst comes to worst. Early when I first started, I was like, worst comes to worst, I'll just do it in the gym. I'll just do it in the gym.
Okay. Like you did last time.
Yeah, just do it in that TG boxing. As long as we follow our schedule of every year in December, we do our end of year event. Add a little flavor on top of it. We could still do a gym one. So I was like, okay, the backup is the gym. But there's an idea that I've always had, and it was to do it in the center of SeaWorld, right in the middle.
Right in front of the boat?
Yeah. Where you do a drone shot, and there's the fight night, and then the boat's behind it, and there's the night sky. Yeah. I was like, yes, that's something I've always, that has been my crowning jewels. Like, I want to do that in there. So I don't know. I think I was just, all these people were so buzzed from the gym event that we did. People were excited. I was like, okay, let me have a meeting with China merchants. So I got in touch with China merchants, the lady who's in charge of this, because actually there's A, B, and C. The SeaWorld is divided into three parts, and each of them are a different company. And those companies don't necessarily talk to each other. If you know a Ling Dao from that, he's like, no, I've got my little thing. If you're in, you're in, but don't talk to me about. And it's SeaWorld. To us, it's just one place, right? So I wanted to be in section A, which is right in front of the boat. So I got in touch with that company through my girlfriend who does social media marketing. So she got me in touch with a lady who did an event there, who had a good relationship, and she introduced me, and I had a meeting with her with my production guy from the office. And she was like, okay, yeah. So and I was like, what's the deal? And she was like, yeah, this is the rent of this space. And it was about 200. But it was depending on was it a weekend or was it during the weekday, and how big is it, how much of the space. But she was saying it's about 200. And I was like, I think I can manage that. And the way I wanted to do it was I asked my girlfriend if I could add the event into all of her offline events. Because in social media marketing, you do a lot of campaigns online. You get KOLs to market your products, which we'll get into. So the way I did this fight night, with the ambition of doing it directly in SeaWorld, is I need funding. I need sponsorship, right? Now, nobody wants to buy a fight night. Nobody. I'm sorry, but to this day, I've never had anyone, and I don't think I ever will have someone that will buy the fight night to buy it to as a sponsorship package.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
So the reason is number one, our eyeballs are just not big enough for marketing dollars. And usually, in order for you to get marketing dollars, the eyeballs that you need are so much more than than even what we think would be a lot. Like it needs to be stupidly high, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands, right? Whereas I'm like, oh no, we get a few thousand people, no, you know, like guaranteed. It need the amount of eyeballs you need over a period of time is extremely high, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, before they even think about giving you cash.
Right.
Versus giving you some like, oh, we'll give you the venue for free, or we'll give you this, or we're working, you know, some, you know, co-branding, you know, sort of deal, right? But at the end of the day, you know, I don't need product. I don't need your network. I need something to pay this venue, because they're doing a relationship with me, and if you can work something out with them, but then I'll send you a list of my costs. But then I've also tried that.
And the venue's the biggest cost of the
venue by far. Well,
like when you did it, like not the last time, but before that, you did it at gym. Was that you had to pay for the venue?
Zero cost.
So
the gym even asks us, like, do we need to pay? Like that's the approach, because we bring all the people, and usually we heavily promote their gym, like leading up and afterwards. So they like that. But I'm like, no. You're giving us the venue. You know, we're gonna run. You know, sort of run through your entire gym, all these bodies. Who's gonna clean up the mess? Could you please clean up the mess, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay us, right? But yeah. No one, and where marketing dollars go now, where they go now in an instant, is social media marketing.
Right.
So every company now, if they have any little tiny product, they want to invest in social media, right? So I know where where the money is, right? And that's where my girlfriend works. And what she'll do is she'll do an online campaign. She'll do a series of things with the brand to get their product out there and to get it well advertised. The last thing that she'll do on the list is an offline event. And usually the offline event is where you invite big influencers, big Chinese influencers in makeup and beauty and lifestyle. They all come and they interact with the product, and they get photos, get video, and that's actually what the brand wants, is just the content.
So they just want the KOLs to be there to interact with the client.
Yes.
So actually the event themselves is like
Can be anything.
A no money fucking.
It could be like, I could just say, oh, let's come to Freddie's office. Like, let's put up some drinks, you know, play some cool music, and then just do a cool video.
But I'm bringing this girl and this person and this person, this person.
Yes.
Give me 200,000.
Yes. What my girlfriend had a series of events. I think it was five different events that we were doing, and I said, can I take some money to cover costs, and I can add this to the list. And the first problem is she said, well, why would I give you these costs when I have got my costs? And why don't we just do like a fashion show? It's very cheap, or we could do, you know, just a little networking event at some trendy office, right? But I sold her on the fight night, because I was like, you know, I was just being cocky, and I was like, don't worry, I can take care of it. It will be easy. If you do this, I'll call some people, we'll figure it out, right? So she was like, all right. So then she put the event into her list of all these on. And so all these sponsors are getting involved in this big package. She's orchestrating like hundreds of KOLs to do this, another 100 to do that. There was also, this was during Fashion Week, Shenzhen.
Right.
So there was even Shenzhen Fashion Week, there were 3 events that she was organizing around that. So a lot of these are lifestyle brands, their makeup, their beauty, all of this, right? So getting them to get involved with a fight night, it was kind of like they didn't really care, because they didn't quite know what it was. And it was also the last event before the end of the year. So like, all right, sure, no worries. So we're going in, and we signed the deal with China Merchants, right? We paid the money. China Merchants took the money, took our venue money. And then they said afterwards, and this is why I wouldn't strongly encourage anyone to work with China Merchants. They said, now you need to go get police approval. They said it after we took the money.
So if the police said no, they give you your money back?
That's what we thought. That's what would make sense, right?
Right.
So when we went to go get police approval, even like over so many different visits.
Right now we're talking about the SeaWorld location, the last event.
Yes.
So you made a deal with China Merchants. You gave them
the money you gave them was for the main venue in front of the boat.
Just for the floor.
Initially for the one in front of the boat.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this was for in front of the boat. So you paid that money.
Yes.
The 200K.
Yes. And not only not only did they take it, but they said, now you got to go get police approval, We said, could you help us? Because you have a better relationship with the police than we do. Right. Like, I'm just a guy walking in there and say, hey, can I do a fight night? I know exactly what they're going to say, right? So we go into the police department. They're like, they're obviously like, no, it's COVID, post-COVID, you need this. They tell us all these things we need. And that is something that I would have to say in China, that's how it is. If you ask for permission, police will always say no. They will always say no. Unless you're someone who's asking is someone more powerful than police. It's not that they mean no or they're trying to be mean or anything. It's just procedure. Just say no. Because if you get to that point in the whole China mechanism where you're asking the police to do something, if you're getting to that point, obviously it means no. Like, you should have someone more powerful go in for you, or the phone call should be made, right? Us walking into the police department, it automatically means no.
Yeah. So you just like, you and your girlfriend walked in?
Yeah. And then she was like, maybe you shouldn't come. I should go. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. Wait at 7-Eleven.
Wait outside.
We good? No, okay. And so she's like, no, they don't want to do the event. So I was like, no, man, this is bad. So I start hustling my network. So I get, and this is fighters are like, the whole time they're like, hey, we still good? And I'm like, yeah, we're good. Like, I didn't want to be like, everybody stop. You have to keep the machine going.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? And you're like, I got to fix this.
Man, the worst case scenario, you just go back to the gym, right?
Yes. There was a couple other worst case scenarios, but at the end of the day, if I told everyone, hey, you're coming from Xiamen, you're coming from, like, we'll just do it in the gym. They're not going to be like, oh, fuck this. They're going to be like, oh, sure, that's okay, right? So there is always that backup, right? But so at the end, but I've sold this event to sponsors, and they don't want the gym. That's the catch. They want eyeballs, and they want to be in SeaWorld.
Right.
That's the. If I did that, the fighters would be happy, but the sponsors, they would say, you owe us another event.
Right.
You owe, because, and we would have to do something.
You didn't deliver on the promises you made.
That's right. Because that was the thing. Once you involve the sponsors, then it gets complicated. And that's another rule for everyone watching that wants to do a fight night. Remember, the people paying are the priority. They're always the priority. You must make them happy. Right? Not just at the beginning, but even like a month after.
Right.
A month after the event.
Content coming out.
You got to show that they are the top of the list. Everything must be about them. And any decision that I made, I thought about what each of the sponsors, we had Saga Watch, we had KB, which was the nose product, we had Shenzhen Murray, and what was the other one? Yeah, these were the three. These were the three big guys. So I thought about what would they do if I made that decision, and if they did that, what could I back it up with? So if I went to I was telling my girlfriend, like, if we do go to the gym, we'll just do another event. Like, we'll host another event in SeaWorld. Maybe it'll just be a fashion thing. And that was kind of like the general idea. We'd have to owe them, and we'd just pay the cost ourselves, right? So then, but as we're going along.
So go back to the police.
So the police, as they say,
so your girlfriend walked into the police.
Yeah.
She had to talk to them. They said no.
They were like, no, reject the proposal. Completely rejected the proposal. And then I called a guy named Mei Chunlei, who is a big government senator in Yantian, over the other side of the city. And I told him, I said, you need to help us out here. He's fought it for us 6 times. He loves me. We're really good friends.
So he's been part of the fight night. Okay.
And he's an old 51-year-old guy with 3 kids, government senator, owns 2 companies. Like, he's our picture perfect white collar, right? And I was like, could you help us out here? So he started hustling and making calls. And he directed us to a chief of police that was in the Nantou area, where he has a lot of guanxi. So he's like Yantian and Nantou, not really Shirko Nanshan.
Not
right?
there yet.
So this guy actually came with us to try to pitch. To
the Nantou guy.
Yeah, and still this didn't work. And then the second time that we went with him, he said, we need, I said, well, let's take something. Let's take a gift. You got to give gifts. You got to give like some sort of gift.
So what'd you bring?
So we paid 2,000 RMB for Chinese tea, really expensive Chinese tea. We went to some famous place where you buy tea. We gave this tea. Here you go. They took the tea. They have my goddamn tea. I didn't even get to taste the tea out there. And still they were like, no.
So you went with the guy, bought the tea, and they said no.
Yeah. And at that point, when that happened, then it really started to get, like, already it was extremely stressful. It got really stressful because now Now there's not much cost. Like a lot of the budget's going. It's just like I'm losing the budget, right? So I'm like on the actual night itself, I don't know what is left to actually pay for. Like, what could I pay for? Like, how am I even going to get the ring? Like, unless I physically bring the ring myself, right? Like the bank was getting lower and lower and lower. So we realized, okay, so there was a law that you can't do an open air event. We didn't have the license for it. We could apply for it, but it would take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So we couldn't do it open air, but we could do it indoors. If it's indoors, it's another classification. And if it's another classification, they can give an okay on it because it kind of follows the post-COVID rules. Not too many people, blah, blah, blah. So the only venue that Section A of SeaWorld could give us was that little mall. I don't know. Do you know that mall? You know Tacos?
Yep.
Where you go to the bathroom, you go into that little mall.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's really tiny.
Tight,
This little tiny. And they were like, we can give you this. Like this. But I was like, man, I paid for out there, and you giving me that's not right. You like I can't. That's not working. I can't even fit the ring in there. We did all the measurements. Even a couple of times we would go do the measurements. The security, you know, the SeaWorld guys that are dressed in sailor suits, they were like, stop, you're not allowed to measure. And we were like, come on, you know us. Like, we've been trying to figure this out for the last month. And they were like, no, you can't do it. And we're like, just call your boss. And we'd have to sit there, wait. They call the boss.
You can't even like measure, like with measuring tapes?
And they were like, oh, it's you guys. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Like, in SeaWorld, they're not friendly. They're really not friendly. I was so drained. I was like, come on, man. We're trying to measure this little shitty area. I paid for there, and now I've got this, right? And we were trying to design it to where, like, the sponsor booths were outside, but then the fight night was inside, and then maybe we could do an LED outside. And, like, what's the cost on LED? Like, so technically the sponsors are getting outdoor exposure. They're getting the eyeballs, but it's LED. But then we're like, how do we run the LED cord? And we're trying to look at the electricity port, and we're doing all this measuring. We're like, nah, that's not going to work. Well, what if it's on the other side, like on the boat side, on the back door? What if the LED's there? Like, we were trying to measure every little, and it was just that thing where I was like, man, I don't. However, we're going to do this is going to be really rough. Like, this is the worst logistically nightmare.
You didn't think to maybe bring it on the rooftop of the boat?
Yeah. No, the rooftop that would have been a private venue. Yeah, but we'd have to ask them. But the ring is the cunt. The ring is heavy. Everywhere that thing goes, that adds weight. Right. And imagine when people are fighting, boom, it's like, boom. Okay. So they're like, yeah, put it on the boat. And then they'd be like, what? There's not enough room to watch. You like, stand. And then also the thing is so heavy, right? It's like, this might break our floor, right? Okay. So at that point, we were like, okay. I told my girlfriend, I was like, let's just go talk to Wincy, who's the owner of TG Boxing. And TG Boxing, we've done events with them so many times, right? We're very close. So we walked in and we were like, man, what are we gonna do? Like, we were shopping for venues. We were trying to. My girlfriend was looking for other like bosses for other venues in and around SeaWorld, just around SeaWorld, even like down the road a little bit in these other areas, right? And so we go to Wincy, and I said, you know, we told her the full story, and she was like, oh, talk to George. And George was the manager there. He's a nice guy. We always train with him. And he said, oh, I know, I train the leader, they call him the leader, right, of the Gateway 1 mall. I train this lady. And we were like, what, really? Get her on the phone now. And we sat there, and that day, we were like, and that was Monday. The event was on Saturday. So all those months was we were trying, we just realized we couldn't. So
you didn't have a venue a week before the event?
Before the event, we didn't have a venue.
Crazy, man.
And so that was Monday. And I was telling Wincy, I was like, oh, we're gonna take you to dinner. We're gonna take you to, thank you so much. We were so thankful that we had this contact. So that night they couldn't meet us, but the next day we go in, we meet them, and exactly the opposite. Gateway 1 is the exact opposite of SeaWorld. They were like, don't pay us yet. We'll help you get approval, right? And we're like, yes. Like, they didn't take our money. That was the first thing. They were like, no. And they said, okay, the cost, they gave us a price which was about half the price of SeaWorld. Not only that, but they weren't like, pay us now.
And you lost the money with
SeaWorld,
China,
we're still
with
trying
China
to get it
merchants?
back. We're still trying to get it back. But they promised to pay, but there's like an amount that they're like, you can't have this back. This is like the
deposit
or like the insurance or whatever. Like we could have booked someone there, like that money. But so this is like, but once we found Gateway One, we were so happy that we found like, we could work with them. They were like, okay, don't worry, we'll help you.
They're supportive.
They're so supportive, extremely supportive. And they called the police officers for us. And the other thing, another trick for people wanting to do that on fight night, when you go for approval, you don't say fight night, you say show. You say martial arts show, or you say display. Wording is so important.
Use the word fight.
You never say fight. You take this off everything. Like even if you looked at our like the Chinese word fight, like was Chenji was not even anywhere. It was all gone. We stripped it all, and that's why Du came in with the martial arts and the dance and everything. We wanted more shows, more biaoyan. Not just the fight, because then it kind of, if it's too fight, it's a bit tense, it's aggressive, right? So that was another thing we did. We changed the proposal, we submitted it, and they didn't reply. They didn't respond. So we asked Gateway One, we were like, what do we do? And they said, don't worry, that means yes. Like, let's go, let's do it.
All right.
And we were like, okay, are we doing this together? And they were in it, they were with us together the whole way through. And they, even setting up the venue, we were there the night before. We were setting up the venue. All the guards and everything, they're all so friendly. They were like, "Do you want us to help? Like, is there?" They were always involved. Always like, "Is it okay to do this? Can we run this wire here? Can we put that there?" Yeah, you're fine. And so the night before, the setup went great. We finished like 7 a.m. We went back, got a few hours sleep. We came back, but then the guys that were helping us, they were off, and there was a new team in. And they were like, whoa, what's going on here, right? And it took them about 3 hours to figure out, like, and call the other guys, and then obviously the lady that we know. But it was a little bit tense right before the event because there were wires everywhere. Oh. And these wires, there was all these kids. And I think something happened where some kid almost tripped. And they were like, don't let, like, if some kid drops or trips, then you'll be in trouble. So we were taping everything to the floor. Like I had all this tape and I had all my boys there and I was like throwing tape at them. And I was like, anything, just tape anything. And they were just wrapping tape around. And I was just, and my girlfriend, she was managing like the Gateway One and the guards and everything. And she said, the Lingdaos of this building, this area, they're watching us. There's that big tower, right? They're watching. So we got to be good. We got to make sure everything's on point. And we're going. And I remember one time there was like some kid was playing with like a siren, like a toy. It was like, and I looked and I was like, shit, this is it. The police are coming. This is it. They're coming in. What the fuck is this? Like it was so tense. And I remember about like 2 hours before the end of the event, it's all just like something's gonna, like, I'm just waiting for something to snap. But then my girlfriend came up to me and she was like, no, this is really good. All of the Lingdaos upstairs, they all love the event and they want us to come back. So it immediately flipped. They saw everything was done. It was really well, like we were safe. It was exciting.
Organized.
And crowds were coming and no one was getting hurt. And they were like, we got to do this again. And now that venue, they're like, any event you want to do, it's 100% free.
No way.
It's all free.
But for you guys, you mean?
Yeah. The Gateway One is like, anything you guys do, it's free.
Okay.
That's great.
That includes the LED as well.
Oh.
The one that was like...
So it's all changed. It flipped like...
Crazy.
You know?
Because they realize also what this brings. But also we were discussing, like, compared to other... at least I've been in many of the color fights before. The fact that you have the second floor, the people were even upstairs watching was like perfect for the audience.
That could be every year our December event.
Nice.
Oh, it's a great venue.
Perfect.
Because I mean, you can fit a lot of people. I mean, you could fit 4, 5, 6 times the amount of people that were watching it that night. The amount of people you can fit on the second floor. On the ground floor.
But that was because leading up to the event, and obviously it was extremely stressful. And I was thinking to myself, like, I don't think I should do this again. Like, I think I should put my energy in something, because it's kind of a hobby, right? It's a marketing arm for the parent company, but the parent company right now, they're really pushing their brand another way. They don't have the resources to, but I still want to push it, right? But then where am I pushing it to? Who's going to buy this? Where's the value, right? the way that I got most of the costs covered was in a string of events. But when's that going to happen again? And even by doing that, I had to still pay out all this money in my personal account, which Jesus, later on I'll tell you, I sure as hell couldn't afford that, right? So yeah, I ask a buddy, hey, I'll pay you back, and he's like, yeah, I know you're good for it, but that's not. I can't run every event like that. I can't be borrowing money to pay for a mistake I made. And it's all the stuff around that I can't control: the venue, the police approval, all of this, right? So that's kind of where the challenge was. I was like, so going into it, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm retiring, And then afterwards, when the support came back in, and all these people are excited, and these matchups are being formed, and all this, the shit talk is being. I was kind of like, people do want this. Maybe I'm good for another one. If it's after Chinese New Year, if things, I find the motivation one, I can sort of put all these pieces together, because that was the thing. It's not like you can just go find a sponsor. No sponsor will pay for it. No sponsor will pay for it. You have to attach your event to something else. You have to hitch it to another thing. You have to like maybe.
But even if you find like a boxing glove company or some sports brand, they're
the cheapest. They're the cheapest people. The money's in makeup. I have to somehow get the event to be about makeup. Makeup and beauty is where all the marketing dollars are. Mm-hmm. Fitness, there's no money. No company has this a budget that's big enough that they can give to me and say this will get back what we could normally get as if we just put that online.
But so let me ask you, without the so if you have a free venue, for example, what does it cost to put together the event?
If I have a free venue, let's say light frame, but then it depends. What kind of event do we want? Now,
let's say you're gonna do every 3 months. You can do the same one you did over at the last one in SeaWorld.
That would cost me maybe, but yeah, say. So I'd make a decision about what sort of, if someone wanted that exact same one, right?
The exact same one, same place, same place. You have a free venue.
Yeah, because we made a decision. There's so many decisions we made. So one decision, for example, was the ring itself. So my ring is like 1.5 to 2. It's almost 2 meters high. So when you put that ring there, no one needs to stand up, right? But that ring, to bring it there, it's 8,000 RMB. Just because there's a team of people that we've worked with every time. They know exactly, they don't lose any pieces, and they know how to make it, and they know how to make it fast. I could make it, but it would take me, I think I could probably do it in about 5 hours. I myself could make it.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself. But if 5 people do it, an hour, 2 hours, done. They've made the ring. And they make the ring at that right time where at 11 o'clock, the venue, is allowed to have things come in it. So then they make it, then we schedule the light frame to come after. Because we don't want to be doing this on the day. It all needs to come in at perfect times. Yeah, right? Sure. So my ring, that's 8K. So that's the cost to bring our ring to the venue and to take it back. 2K is TG Boxing's ring. And they just bring it across the road. But it's a lot lower. So
I mean, that AK ring, that ring that you had there was very good.
So yeah. So we made the decision. We're like, we need that ring, right? We have to do our ring. We can't do TG, even though that was some of the costs that I had to front, is because I was like, the difference, just in the height of the ring, is everything. If you're standing there and someone's in there, sit down. It kills it, right?
No, that was great for the.
Yeah. So you have to, and then also the number. So we didn't do food, right? There was no food. I told Jordan Dragon if they want to set it up, that was their deal. But I just had a bunch of champagne that was sponsored from other events that was sitting in the office, and I was like, just give it away. Just fuck it, give it away. So that was all there, and I don't think it's difficult to get another champagne sponsor. I just probably couldn't get as much. So it was down to chairs. So all these there's companies that give you chairs, tables, like tablecloths, like you can list what the quantities, right? They'll bring it in and they'll take it away. We had like, I think it was under 100 chairs. And then that week, it was like hell week. I was like, we're going to need more chairs. We will need more chairs. And it was an argument of like, don't people just stand? And okay, if they do stand, we definitely need the bigger ring. right? And then do we want them to sit and just back and so finally we're like, okay, get the big ring and get more chairs, get double the amount of chairs.
So besides the chairs, what is like what is the total cost for the whole thing? Not paying the venue.
Not paying the venue, the total cost should be 250.
250,000.
250 grand. Yeah.
So yeah.
So in our company, that's like our set package.
Without the venue.
Without the venue. But I took a lot of things out and I replaced them for things which could be of equal value or it because it's different, because the events that we've done have been in behind closed doors in hotels.
Yeah, you start off doing these like really fancy events where you're buying tables.
Yes. So that's a whole different model, right? And then the gym is zero cost, free entrance, right? And this was the first event that was fully commercial, like a full commercialized event, right? So I'm taking money from sponsors and I'm adding in a little bit more and I'm kind of seeing, what could have worked, right? And the key thing was the sponsors, and the sponsors making them happy, right? That's one of my top rules. So the way that you could get in is you didn't have to buy a ticket. You bought a product from the sponsor. Now the sponsor, they first said, I want to charge the price that we sell this thing. It was like, for both of it was like 260 something. And we were like, no, it has to be under 100. So they
mean to go into the
well that was the price of the product, right? So they don't care about going in or out. That was our rules. But I was like, because you're our sponsor, we gotta have that relationship where we give to them, they give to us. So I said, we can make it that in order to get in to this just an area, it's just an area, they have to buy your product, but you have to put your product cheaper. So they were like, okay, 99 RMB. And I said, okay, not only that, but you have to give something, do a special prize thing, right? That's where they had the $2,000 giveaway, right? 2,000 renminbi giveaway, right? They added all that in. So with all those sort of relationships, what you do is when I know the cost of what someone pays to come in and what the sponsors pay for, then I adjust the event to suit those two people.
Right.
Because if I can make an event for next to nothing. If I know the venue's free, it can just be the ring with a frame and I can just get my boys, right? But then that's what it is. It's like watching a busker, right? You're like, oh, cool, nice, and you keep walking. But if it's an event where sponsors are putting their brand on there, they want their brand shown in a certain way and they demand certain content. Like the videos afterwards they had to have some sort of quality, right? So that's when you say, okay, I got to create an experience. I have to invest a bit so that an experience is created where the sponsors are happy. And then when people come in and they purchase that night, they're like, yeah, this is cool. No one's going to come to me and be like, wait, your ticket price is way too high here. Like there's not going to be this conflict.
Right.
So that's kind of a little bit of just a lot of trial and error in the past to where you can adjust it. And if I were to do that event again, I think 200K, I could probably easily do it. No venue, 200K. I think the 50 I wouldn't need. And I wouldn't do food. I would not do food. I would do the same thing. It's a seat, and I would sell a sponsor gift. Gift has to be under 100 RMB. Includes the LED, the logoing, all of that. Yeah, easy. Yeah, because the shirts, right? They had to have the sponsor logo on, and that was something that I entrusted to a guy at my office. And that he messed up big time. Like
like hate on logos.
So bad. Like I was like, okay, so next time I need to take full control over that because that was just a disaster.
Because
they were coming
off, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're falling off in the fight or while they were training and shit like that.
And that's the thing when you think about your sponsors a lot and you promise them, okay, we'll give you exposure in these places. We'll do this, and they start to picture it and they're like, wow, this is awesome.
And then the guy wins and
and when this happens. If your sponsor gets angry at you, what you've done is you've created just what they demand. But what you want to do is you want to create a bit extra.
Yeah.
To where like, fuck it, we don't care. That's what you want to do. I'd say that's another rule is you create a really solid friendship with your sponsors, create a lot of content
happy
for them.
To pay that money and happy to be involved.
And even if the logo falls off, you're like, what's that over there? Fix that. I remember I went to the ring once and there was the wrong logo. I had to pull, as the guy was in the corner, I had to pull it off. because the wrong logo was on.
Shit, man.
It was two different logos. but then the sponsors, like, they're so happy about all this other stuff. Like Saga, they had their brand really well displayed. They were able to give a gift to the girls, and there was like, they had their own little board as well with their watches and everything. Yeah. And then obviously, like, any mistake you make, we can fix it. See, I couldn't do this before. We could fix it online later. So I tell my girlfriend, like, in order to compensate for a lot of this, we can fix it by giving them more KOLs, because she has KOL relationships that will advertise their product online. And it's all done online. We don't know. We've never heard of it. We don't never see it. But the brand sees it and they like it. Right. So that's kind of when I talked to the CEO, right, of my parent company, when I told him about the whole ins and out, I was like, the advantage that I had was this whole social media. I had all this in my back pocket that I could create. Because if a sponsor comes to me and we're talking about just the event, what will happen is there'll be a big contract and they'll list everything. And if I don't fulfill it, there'll be trouble, right?
Right.
If there's some logo falls off or some LED doesn't show their video enough times throughout the entire, they'll get upset. And because it's all down to just one event. But when it's a series of events and it's all this online campaign,
and online, yeah, of
we
course,
can all hide it. We're like, don't worry about it. Don't worry. I'll give you 5 KOL posts tomorrow, right? And that we could do. And I couldn't do that before.
Yeah, it's more easily manageable.
So, like, one idea that I just popped in my brain is, like, why don't you, since you, with your girlfriend and all of her breach with all these KOLs, why don't you make white collar fight night merch and t-shirts, hoodies, sports bra, whatever the fuck, and try to push that during the event or before the event or whenever, just to make some little extra money for yourself and to fund the
for merchandise, for things like that, ideas like that. What I have to do going forward is I would have to have her and her company, like, see the value of WCFN and then say, okay, we want to sit down and have an agreement with you guys and with my parent company and actually have, like, part ownership or something like that. Because even during this whole process where she did all this work and obviously I supported, it was my brand that was getting, like, I get a lot of value. The WCFN gets a lot of value, but we have zero cost. Our company had zero costs. All the cost was on me personally and then on her. Right. So then it's kind of like, where's the money coming from? And why am I promoting your brand if I'm doing all the work? Why don't I call it my business name and Fight Night, right? So probably going forward, it would be like, do you see value? Is there good? If it's good, let's write an agreement and then let's explore merchandise and, all these other range of things that you could do. Yeah, like, merchandise would be fun, especially if you had, like, a cool shirt, maybe if it was even, like, signature to that event, had the date of the event.
Yeah, like limited edition shirt. You got some general product that you can buy year round, and then some limited edition, like, well, we're only making 200 of these kind of shirts.
Yeah.
Like, man, every fighter would buy one. The girlfriend would buy one.
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking, I
mean, that would put, like, extra cash. I mean,
yeah, I have to think of ideas.
And especially if you have, like, the KOL reach, even them, you could say, listen, man, like, you guys promote it. You guys get, I'm just throwing numbers out here. You guys figure it out later. But, like, you guys get 40% of the sales. I get 60. Yeah. We're doing this event together. You guys are our media sponsor.
Yeah, I think it's even beyond the KOL. I mean, I think when you're looking at every single event, all your fighters in that moment are, in their scale, KOL within their friends. They have potential, and their audience, right? Like, someone that comes is working in their office, and 20 people come from their office. Whether it's a badge or a T-shirt or a hat. That's it. It's something that is very low cost when you produce, 500 on your side. Yes. But when you sold 50, you paid it back.
But I mean, with the KOLs, man, like, you make some cool video of you wearing this shirt, your girlfriend, or some sexy gym girl, and promoting this brand, man. Man, who knows, man? Maybe
did you see
one KOL can sell thousands?
Yeah. What's his name? Logan Paul, right?
Yeah.
Logan Paul's got the fight with Floyd Mayweather.
And is that really gonna happen?
Yeah, it's February 20.
Really? But he's gonna die, man.
Yeah, but everyone's gonna make money during it, right? But he has a thing now. If you buy his what's his brand? Maverick. if you buy one of his Maverick shirts, you're like in a pool of people that will get picked, and you'll get a free ticket. So he already has like 100 tickets to give away, something like this. He's got, and you get a free ticket to the event. He's crossing his merch over. And so, yeah, I mean, I would be like, yeah, sure, I'll just buy the shirt. Just to be able to have a chance to go see that fight. Cool. That'd be awesome. It'd just be a main event. There'll be a bunch of other fights, right? That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That'd be so worth the trip over to the US if it was at the right time. February should be all right. Yeah.
So is it really happening?
Yeah. It's definitely happening.
But
Floyd, he's the one pushing it. Like he was the one that did the first post and everything like that.
But Logan, he knocked out his last opponent.
Logan, no, that's Jake Paul.
Oh, Jake Paul.
So Logan Paul is the older brother. He's fighting Floyd.
So Logan Paul's the one that sucks.
Logan Paul actually lost twice. Well, it was a draw.
And that's who Mayweather wants to fight.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, the thing was, the actual story is Logan called him out on some big live stream conference.
That's
thing.
a bit of a joke, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't make any sense, and there's a bit of a weight difference too.
At least the younger brother knocked his last guy out.
Yeah,
looks okay in the ring.
Yeah.
Not like this fucking loser who never.
I mean, we are talking about a world champion against
a YouTuber,
amateur YouTuber
that lost twice.
2 fights. Yeah,
that lost twice
against other YouTubers.
Another YouTuber.
I mean,
it's it's crazy, right?
Okay.
That's crazy.
But I think people are not really going to be into this fight, though. It's not going to be like. I mean, everyone they'll probably make some money, but it's not going to be like Conor and fucking.
It wouldn't be like Conor and Floyd. No way.
But you know what I think, especially because we are looking at the U.S. audience, there's a lot of haters. So I can imagine all these people that actually hate the YouTuber. They want to see this to hope that the other guy destroys it.
I don't think I think not that many people would want to pay money for like pay-per-view and shit like that.
They're saying like if you pay now, you pay $20, and then $50 later. It's like it's not
but
cheap.
Who wants to watch this fight, man? Like I don't give a fuck. Like Conor and Mayweather, man. I was there rooting for Conor.
Even if you watch it afterwards for free on YouTube, someone is banking on that. I mean, it's anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, this fight. It's
it doesn't.
Pure media.
Yeah.
Stop. And the Jake Paul Conor fight actually would be more interesting.
Like the younger brother.
Yeah, the younger brother would be more interesting because of the fight.
Well, Conor can fight.
Yeah.
It's not like this fucking YouTuber who.
Yeah.
Logan Paul's twice.
He's kind of a softer character. Jake Paul, the younger one's more aggressive. He's the one that, he's far more aggressive. Far more, like in all his videos, he's right. Whereas Logan's a little bit more like, he sort of acts more like an older brother. so I think Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul, these two aggressive guys, I think that would be that's more interesting.
This is also going to happen.
I'd be pretty sure it would happen because of the fact that Logan is fighting Floyd, and it's just that so yeah, I'll do it too as well, right? It's money. He offered him $50 million. Oh my God, I don't think Dana could give.
Who offered to
Mayweather?
Yeah, Jake Paul offered $50 million to Conor McGregor.
Yeah, okay, fine.
$50 million. He has a check. Like he did a big video. Look, check.
5-0.
50 million.
If you can pay $50 million for someone to just fight you, how many you have, man?
That's sponsor money, definitely. Some company is just like, what's the one? Triller, right? It's Triller. Triller. It's the new platform where the Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, they launched that fight. They're the new Denzen, new ESPN.
Legends Only.
Yeah. Legends Only is Mike Tyson's own brand thing, where he's getting these old legends to come, but they'll all fight under Triller. And Triller has deep pockets. I don't know where their money's coming from. I don't know. I was asking a few people. It's not clear, but maybe some big Middle East money, big money. But that's I have a $50 million. That's probably coming from them, definitely. Yeah, just give them $50 million. We'll make
it 3 times.
3 times that. Yes.
What did you think of the Mike Tyson fight?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it too. I haven't watched it.
Who won?
Yeah, I thought it was very good.
It was a draw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was an exhibition. Because an exhibition fight, if you're a pro fighter, you Google them, right, and they'll have the full list of their amateur career. All the details, every little tiny detail about their amateur career, and then they'll have their details of their pro career. So if someone's coming out of retirement and fighting, where do they fight? And they're not really pros, right? They don't want to fight pro in the sense that, you know, it's the pro rules.
Affect their pro record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
With the
and then they
records.
don't want to, and it's true, they don't want to touch their pro record. And then also they're not fighting amateur, they're fighting something else. And that other thing, we call it an exhibition. And exhibition rules, the reason it's exhibition is it's always a draw, because it's a pro that doesn't want to hurt his record. So it's always a draw, but we know who won.
Oh,
That's
right,
so
okay.
we say it's a draw, but that's why when the fight finished, they took them out of the ring. Did you see that? They
I haven't watched it.
Yeah,
Oh.
they left the ring and they went to the alleyway thing, and then they announced the fight there. This is a draw. They did it in a very different format to respect both their records. That's all. Oh. But Mike Tyson he won. Yeah, hands
Destroyed
down.
the other guy.
Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson is
Still
dangerous.
there.
He's still 100%. Like as soon as he finished the fight, he was like, I want to go again. I want to fight every 3 months. Like he's really keen.
He got back into his
Yeah,
head,
it's
man.
so
now he
funny,
cannot
man.
Yeah.
stop.
Because I was watching him on Joe Rogan. He's like, I
no,
don't
no,
want to
I could
fight.
do it.
Like, you know, when every time I fight, like the demons come out.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
You know, I feed my ego. And I'm dead. I just want to like smoke weed on my ranch and
That's
whatever.
it.
And all of a
Yes.
sudden, dude, next thing you know, he's fighting,
1 year
you know?
after, boom.
He's like, my wife said I'm fat, you know, one day, and I need to like spend some time on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And then like I spent like, you know, 5 minutes, and fucking next thing I know, I'm running like 3 hours a day, and then I want to start fighting.
Yes.
You know, and next thing I'm in the ring, you know.
Yeah. He's such a character.
I
yeah.
love that dude. It's so cool to see him like the young monster that we all grew up with and loved, and you know, some people probably hated. You know,
Yes.
grew up, you know, became this like super cool, self-aware, highly intelligent, intellectual, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
person. You know,
Yeah,
from the monster that bit people's ears off and beat his girl to
Yeah,
this
that's
like super calm Zen, you know,
Zen
guy.
character. Yeah.
Which anyway didn't last, and he's back on track.
You know?
Yeah. In his post-fight interview, he said the way he talks is you're excited to see him fight again. He's himself is like, I'm very blessed that I got to do that. Like I got to fight again, and I wanna fight again. And all the reporters are asking like, you know, is the old Mike Tyson back? How did you feel? And he keeps saying like, no. When I was in the ring, I just felt thankful that I was there. I got to do this again. I just felt thankful. He just keeps saying that. But they're all
wanna
trying to
try
get him
to get
say,
him.
"Yeah, I want to eat him, tear his head off." And yeah, it's all that crazy Mike Tyson. They want to bring him out again, but he's not there. Right? It's really cool, very very cool. The fight was far more entertaining than most of the fights of 2020. 2020 obviously was a bad fight year, right? But when you watch that fight, we were all like so excited. Everyone was like, it's good.
Legends back.
You do not stream live the white collars.
Yeah, I mean, we have a
did you
platform, and I just put my phone up, and I
Okay,
just posted
okay.
it in the groups. But we don't have a deal with some big channel.
No, but I mean, well, now it just comes to my mind because, like, when you do it, you can prove the audience after a couple of times, even if you just have a couple of tripods, those numbers is where you can bank also on the sponsors.
Yes, yeah. Our live streaming, the way I would
With
do
either
live streaming.
over impression, or even if you put it in on YouTube, you would have
Yes.
supported by or stuff. It's something that stays there forever. Like,
Yeah. I think the deal, if I do my own live streaming to where, like, because I know the platform that we use is on a live streaming account, which is not a prominent one. It's not one where I can get some good numbers. Okay. I'd have to do a real one, like, you know, Tencent or even
Like
WeChat.
Douyin or
Douyin, yeah. And I think to do that, it's probably better, instead of paying for that service, is I get a live streamer, an actual real influencer live streamer.
Yeah, right.
And I just say, you live stream. You come to the event, I pay you this much, you give me, and then send me the numbers after. Because for us to do it ourselves, it would a lot of setup. I think also it's done with a phone, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of a challenge.
with the phone, or yes.
Yeah. Look at it, check it out. It'd be kind of funny, right? Yeah, because the live stream we're used to is like an official broadcast, right? These cables, I don't know how thick they are, but they must run, right? These big, you get a nice screen, right? But a lot of people are asking that, is the event going to be live? But they don't realize like that live stream that we see every Sunday when we watch UFC, and then like the WeChat, like the telephone, the mobile phone live, how different they are, and how like if I can put a live link out, but it's just going to be a phone, right? You're just going to look. It's not going to be in a camera
with announcers.
Yeah.
Oh, you took the left hook. Yeah, but I know, I understand. But I mean, of course, there are like ways to do it very pro, where you can switch from one camera to another, but that is like a
just cost.
I mean, that is something that in order even to start up, now we started tried 3 times with the WeChat live feature.
Did that go through?
Yes. The WeChat channels. And the first time we tried, we kept it on for 1 hour and a half. We arrived to 600 unique viewers, nice. Which anyway for us was, more unique viewers than how many followers we had at the time.
Yeah, it was our first time.
Yes.
We don't have no big
but then
following.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end, you have a screenshot, even just for you to say, look, we try, we can do this, and you just say, look, I have 600 viewers here. Then the fact that people would follow it, maybe they would look it up, you put it on Youku or whatever, and these sponsors, just as an extra thing, you tell them, look, we also upload on the Youku, and we have these numbers, and your logo will be there, like supported by, sponsored by. It's just an extra tool or gain.
That's it. Yeah.
Because you already have it. You don't have to do anything extra.
Yeah. That's. With WCFN, the future would be is good content, good media content that I can sell to a channel. So the channel says like, this is good stuff. We want to buy this, right? Just like UFC, right? And the way that would be good is if I had the right people fighting these Chinese CEOs. That's kind of where the story is. That's kind of where the story is in who's matching up and what company is versus what company. Like the battle of the bars, but to another level, 2 big, tech giants fighting.
Yeah, battle of the bars is fucking nobody.
Yeah, that's right.
So some like DJI versus
you need
Oppo or something.
That's it. Yeah. Imagine that, 2 big phone companies, right?
And then fucking you have 3,000, 5,000 employees, like all like.
Yes, that's it. That is if you're able to create that, and that's what a media channel would buy. And they said if you could do that, could you do it a lot, like do it again and again and again? You could build that way. And then the other way is if you sell it like the same way, you create it the same way Spartan and CrossFit were created. Yeah. So you kind of format the event part, but then also the methodology, the fight methodology of how a 0 to hero, someone could get in the ring in this amount of time. What's the training plan? And that is this full package you could sell to if someone said, oh, I want to either buy a fight brand or put it in my gym, and it could grow like that. Same way CrossFit and Spartan were grown, right? So people could buy and do their own events, and then the event would bring all of this. Right? But that, again, that would be many, many years into the future. And then the other way is if you'd sell it like just an event model. It's just like how I did. It's a commercialized event. So sponsors, they put their brand on there and they get something back. That's it. Yeah. So that's the way that WCFN could grow next year is putting all these. And then you add on other revenue streams like merchandise, right? And other things.
Well, once you get it right, there's nothing that you can risk anything on. I mean, there's nothing that, you already have things, there's nothing that can go wrong or...
Yeah, the community's there. The people are already involved. People are interested. So, yeah, it's kind of like, what sort of amount of energy do I have left to put into it, and what could I potentially get back? That's kind of like what I'm thinking about now. The events would have to wait a bit, and then you build up the infrastructure of the actual brand itself.
So how many events were you doing a year?
Last year, pre-COVID, we would do like 3 gym events a month.
Well,
month. Yeah, we did them so many times. Yeah, because it was
mostly
free. Right?
Was between kind of I don't want to say professionals, but people that were already boxing. So it was always between gyms.
Oh yeah.
But you start off doing like a few a year at the hotel, get ballrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you evolved into like a few times a month.
Yeah, and then because the hotels that was going for a while. I think the very first event we did, there was 20K profit, right? So that paid for a lot of the costs, and the investors were happy. Second event was what was the second one? Second one broke even. No, second event was 9K
Profit.
Yeah. So they were like, "Oh, you can pay a bit of the office now, right?" It's like, wow, you can pay a quarter of the office rent for this one. And then the Guangzhou one was flat, broke even, like it cost us nothing. And then it started to cost. Then it got expensive.
Oh.
And then a couple of events were like 100K, 200K into the toilet.
Fuck.
So that was like, woof, no more hotels. Got to stop doing hotels. So
You brought it all the way to Chengdu, I remember once,
yeah,
right?
Chengdu, woof, that was expensive. You imagine flying all that.
Yeah.
Even the truck to drive the ring.
From here to there.
Yeah.
You couldn't
No,
rent a
you
ring.
couldn't find one locally sourced.
It wasn't good enough. It wasn't the official size, right? So yeah, that was like the yeah. So once all that money started losing, it kind of was like, okay, we got to change. And the gyms, that was a demand that they wanted. They were like, yeah, we want people to come in. If you can bring the people in, that's great. We won't pay you, but nobody loses, nobody earns, right? So that's when the gyms, we just gym. And then at the end of the year, we always did a gala. That was it. Yeah. So then last year, it was all year was gyms. And then last we did the Hilton. Hilton was just, we lost so much money. Every hotel event, we lost money.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's not like, but it's kind of like your marketing, right? So I kind of was like saying, to the investors, you're marketing. It's not about losing money. It's just not losing so much.
At the end, it's an investment, yes. So
Yeah.
it goes where it goes. But
Yeah.
as long as it doesn't get into trouble, and I guess we need to talk about
Speaking of
that part
trouble,
of the
Trouble. Let's do the trouble talk.
trouble.
let's get into
The
it.
next
Yeah.
phase, we can call it a John Graham experience.
That's it. Yeah, again, I want to thank Freddie, Shady Monkey. Thank you so much for giving me this platform, because this story is, like I was saying, it's probably my best story. And the way what the satisfaction I get now, given the state that I'm at right now, is I like to get the story out. It's good if people know about this, and they can see how it relates to what they're going through, and if they've been through similar situations or about to, they can be more prepared.
Also to learn something in case they find themselves in the same fucking crazy situation.
Yeah, the China legal system is a labyrinth that I promise you, no one knows. No one knows. Not a single lawyer in China could tell me that they fully understand the way that the system is run. That's not to say that there are no rules. There are the rules, but it's just extremely complicated. You need an AI machine to freaking figure out what the hell's going on with this, because there's always new things that are coming up, and there's new challenges and everything. So
Take us back to the beginning, man.
Yeah, the way it all started was with a gym business where there were 3 partners. And this part I'll go through really quick, because all the juicy stuff is more at the end. But one partner moved on. He didn't want to be involved in the business, and he left. And it was down to me and my other partner. The business was extremely difficult for us to handle. The rent was high, the salaries, and we were late paying rent for like at least a month or 2.
This was a gym, right?
The gym,
what
yeah.
gym?
The gym in Fujian.
Fresh, the Fujian
Okay.
one, yeah. And we were obviously salaries, everything was late paying. You know how some companies operate like this, right? And you don't want to be the company that operates like that. Like, oh, you'll get your month later. Like, you want to pay your staff on time.
Right.
You want to pay your bills on time. You want that, right? But we couldn't handle this business. As money would come in from sessions or packages, it wasn't burnt fast enough by people consuming sessions to buy again before bills would be coming in. Right? So we just couldn't, you need a lot of people to all come in to buy classes, use the classes, more people. So you can't rely on, Betty, who has 50 sessions, who trains 1 time a week. We're only going to see her in 50 weeks, right? To buy again, right? So she's out. And when you have a lot of people like that go on holidays, or when you hit a Chinese New Year period, all of them go away, right? But you still got to pay your rent, right? That rent doesn't stop. The electricity doesn't stop. You can't just say, hey, we're going to stop business now until everyone comes back. No, the
rent is still got to pay.
It's just, it was extremely challenging. So the strategy was to try to offload this responsibility to somebody else. So we had, people that came in that were investors, or we were trying to sell them on the idea of taking the business. And we wanted to say, you take the business, it's your business, but we can work in it. I'll be a trainer here, and I just don't want to go to sleep thinking about the rent. You think about the rent, I'll just wake up and think about the sessions I have to do, right? I wanted to go back into being a personal trainer. I didn't want to be a business owner. So all going on and on, no one was coming through. And there was a guy that I met in Shanghai when I was boxing, who expressed an interest of owning his own gym. And finally we got to a point where he was probably our best option. So what we did is he didn't want to buy the gym because the gym had no value. Let's be honest, the gym that can't pay its rent, it has no value. Because if I know that your gym doesn't have is about to die, and I want to own a gym business, why don't I just
wait?
Yeah, just wait. Wait till you can't pay your rent. I know that there'll be a bunch of members. And what I could do is just open up a gym right next to yours and then just say, hey, anyone that was there, you guys are free here. And I could get a bunch of people in quick, and I could start, running my business, getting personal training and whatnot. Right? So the business couldn't, a transaction of sale was not possible. So what we did is I need to pay rent. And when rent is due and you don't pay it, lights go off. Everything shuts down, right? Your business is closed. So we need to pay rent. So I told the guy, I said, can I take a loan? And as collateral for the loan, I'll put the business in, right? So we took one loan, we paid our costs, and we kept trying to run this business, kept trying to make it work or figure out some other solution where you could do this with it, and then we could do this. We were trying all these different things, but then by the time the second month came around, again, same problem. Took another loan, and then I basically said, those two loans equate to the value of the business. The gym is now yours. You're now the boss. And actually, I have so much proof of this, the gym carried on. It kept going. And I was actually like an employee. There was a contract given to me, like will be your contract. You're the gym manager. You keep me motivate everyone, but I don't have the responsibility of the owning the business. That was the relationship I had with this guy. Carried on. And then Precor, this brand Precor, this gym, the machine brand.
Okay.
So Precor was running an exhibition in Shanghai, and I flew up there to be on the booth just to advertise. And I used to do this stuff a lot when I was heavily involved in fitness. I was always advertising for different gym. You basically get paid like a little fee for the day, but you get this sort of credibility thing. Like you get to go to the expo, potentially meet other people, and you say, "Oh, I'm the Precor trainer" or whatever. So I was there, and then the guy wanted to come to that same expo and sort of check out the expo and see what else was around there. Like, just sort of see, he's like, oh, I'm in the business now. I'm in the industry. I want to get to know it. At least that's what I thought. But this guy's character, you get those, you got your beta. How does it work? The beta,
alpha.
Beta to alpha, and then
alpha.
there's the alpha, and then there's the alpha daddy, right? There's these different characters, right? This guy was definitely a beta going to alpha, right? He was a very, like, he didn't have a high self-esteem, and he would show that by doing things that were extremely inappropriate, like very, very inappropriate. He would like carry a knife around with him wherever he would go, like a knife, like something you would, you could, like Joe Rogan would go out hunting with, right? Like just one of those guys, and we would have like a meeting, and he would pull the knife out, and obviously when you're sort of like, no, that's just not appropriate. We're not like on this kid's school ground where that, where that's silly. Don't do that. But he didn't quite get that, right? He would do things like that. Like there was one time he had like a Hermes belt, and he was like, hey, and I'm not really a fashion dude. I don't give a fuck about that shit, right? But he was like, hey, you know how much I paid for this belt? And he wouldn't shut up about the belt. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm a man. Like, go talk about it to the girl. Girls love fashion and shit like this. Don't talk. A man with biceps is not going to talk to you about fashion. We don't care about how much shit costs and da da da. But this was his thing. He was a very,
He needed to show.
He needed to show. Yeah. He's like a little Napoleon, right? So he came and he was like, oh, and he had the business cards like with the brand and everything. That
Fresh.
Probably should have kept one of those business cards because that's some good evidence as well. So he gave that to me. He was like, now you're part of my new gym, right? So the gym, the brand that it was at, he closed it, and he was going to change it to his own brand. So it was closed, right? So all the members, they had a notice, you have to wait till it's open. Most members were like, oh, it's fine, I don't care. This happens all the time. People renovate, right? But what happened with our relationship, where the way it got broke, was at that expo, because he had this way of behaving, and it was something I could manage. I could sort of keep him in check, and I could sort of create a situation where he didn't really offend anyone. And if he did, I could always apologize to that person later. I could always create this sort of a little safeguard around this guy, right? Right. So he came up and I remember he was like, come, let's go walk around the expo together. And I was like, no, I'm being paid here by Precor. You can't, no, but it's okay. I think everybody's away. I can disappear for a bit. So I left and we were walking around. It was me, my business partner, and then this guy, right? He was sort of walking around, sort of a shorter bloke. So he liked having these white boys walking behind him, his ego's all high. And I remember he walked into this booth and there was like some barbells or something. It was like a barbell thing. And he was like, hey, tell me about your barbells. And the lady wasn't the actual lady. She was just like the assistant that was just like paid to watch the store. She wasn't actually the guy. He was off in the bathroom or something. And she was like, oh, he's not here. Don't worry. He'll come back later. And the way that he dealt with her, he was like, oh, you disrespected me. Da, da, da. And then he turned to me and he was like, she disrespected me. And she, you should say something. And I kind of like lost it a little bit. And I was like, look, your daddy never, in my head, I was like, your daddy never taught you manners. And then I was like, I'm not doing this. So I said the words, I'm not doing this. And I made a motion like, I'm out, peace. And then I just left. Went back to Precor. Stayed there for the remainder of the expo. Never saw him again. Never saw my business partner. And they went back to Shenzhen. 2 days later, as I'm coming back, they were like, he was like, I don't want to see you again. Leave me alone. Like, we're done. We're finished. Blah, fuck you, blah, 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 right? So I was like, oh, wow, that's it. Chapter done, finished. But my business partner stayed on. And it took him like a little while longer before the relationship with him broke as well. It's like, I think he was about maybe a month more, and then he was same sort of thing. It's like his ego got the better of him and then he lashed out. But he was always this kind of guy that would talk. And I always sort of like, thought he was just, some rich kid that didn't know how to manage himself, right? He never had a father that actually told him, he was kind of just got everything paid for. So I never really paid him much mind. But then, later on, I think back, and I probably should have taken him more seriously because there was a lot of threats coming my way. And some of these, I have these screenshots, like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to pay someone to break your legs. All of this, all like, you name it. I'm going to pay mafia, da, da, da. And he's the guy with the knife, right? So, and I'm thinking like, no, some guy who shows up with a knife everywhere is not going to do anything. Usually the guys that don't do anything, that sit behind, that are quiet in the background, those are the guys you got to worry about, right? So physically, I was like, this guy's, he's just a kid. He's going to be ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So come to where I am now. I have this was what, 2 years ago? 2 years ago, maybe. And somebody told me, they said, oh, no, my buddy told me it was his birthday in Philippines. He's like, in 2 months' time, I'm going to be going to the Philippines. You want to come with me? So I was like, yeah, Philippines, it's not that short of a flight. Let's get some visa, da, da, da. And yeah, actually, that's another story about actually how it's actually, I do need a visa. Like, I actually missed my first flight, but I didn't even, like, I missed it going in, having to try to get the visa on the counter.
Oh, okay.
So we went back the next day, got the visa. Go in, finally get into immigration. And immigration, the guy's standing there, is sitting there with his little...
China immigration.
Yeah,
on the way out.
China immigration, yeah. So the first flight I missed just without even getting into the terminal, but yeah, the second one came in, okay, about to go in.
This is in Shenzhen?
Shenzhen. Right. And so the guy has his computer, right? And I'll never forget this because I put up my passport. It comes in and there's like a little red light, beep, and he's like, and he has that look on. When you go to a bank in China and you ask, can I open up a bank account? They have that calm down. It's okay. We'll do this together. We'll do this here. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And he calls his supervisor. The supervisor comes, he looks, and he's like, He doesn't know what's going on. And I'm like, what is it? Like, do you know what my visa page is? Here, let me show you. And they're like, no, it's not that. It's something else, right? And so he calls and 2 guards come and they have like GoPros on their chest, right? And they stand and they're like, you need to come with us to holding. And I was like, okay, this wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting Philippines. Okay, this is going to be a rough one. Yeah, but still at that point, I thought like, this is something like these things happen and I can figure it out. It's probably some, little error, right? So I go into this holding area and they're like, sit down, empty your pockets, don't talk. You're not allowed to talk. So I was like, okay, don't talk. But where I was sitting, it was kind of like, if you can imagine, like I'm sitting in this area, there's a glass window here. So I can see outside your office, right? But the whole glass it was just a little part of it.
Yeah.
And through it, I could see the guys trying to figure out what was going on. And I could see it. I was looking and it looked like, and they were, people were coming in and trying to figure it out.
7 of them.
And I was like, what's going on? Don't talk. And so finally, it was like 45 minutes, let's say, it comes out. He's like, hey, come. And he reads out this statement to me. And the statement, none of it I understood, but I understood the word
Chinese.
It was all in Chinese, yeah. And I understood the word Qianhai. And I was with my girlfriend, and she said, oh, yeah, you have a case in court. It's from, and in order to find, you have to settle this, that's the number you call. But until it's settled, you can't cross the borders of China. That's basically what it said. But I remember, even without her, telling me later, the word Qianhai, which is, that's where I'm staying now, right? That I suddenly knew it was a court case. Now, because I know there's a court there. I know that Shanghai is this new developed area where there's all these banks, right? So if you want to open up an account, you can go. It's all there. Everything is all just in this one place. And I know that there's a court there. So when I saw Shanghai, I was like, court case? Like I think being in China as a foreigner, if your Chinese isn't that up to par, what you get really good at is guessing. You can guess it. You can always get it down to like 3. It could be one of these 3 things. You get so good at understanding like the way his body's moving. He says certain words and he put it. So and she was like, yeah, it's a court case. So I was like, oh, okay, shit. So I was making calls to all these people to try to find out first and foremost what was going on. What's the situation? Like I don't understand at all what's happening.
Of course, you had no.
Just as we're leaving, we're leaving the airport.
So they're like, you can go.
They're like, yeah. They're like, just go, but you can't go that way. You got to go that way. Yeah, just not out. Just stay in. Just stay. It's funny when you since this time over the last 3 years, I've gone into so many different departments. Courts. Different law firms, different police offices, different police stations. I've gone to police stations. And it's funny how when you walk in, everyone's like, ooh, fuck.
Before you're now.
I'm busy. Don't come to me. Because they know when when you come, even when you speak Chinese, they're like, okay, but they don't want to get involved. They're just like, just it's like that dirt you sweep under the rug. So as I'm leaving, I'm trying to figure out like what's going on. And I had some friends who were making some calls and they're like, yeah, you have a there's a court case, you haven't addressed it and now you're on the blacklist. So I was like, what does that mean? Like, yeah, you can't leave China until this is figured out. So again, keep putting this story on turbo, going through it really fast. Over, let's say 2 months, I basically had to figure out first and foremost, I had to figure out what was going on. What is the full
what is the
story?
Actual case?
Yeah, what's the case? What are all the documents? What's the timeline?
What you're accused of.
Where am I standing? All of that. So that took about at least 2 months, right? Then what you got to do is you got to figure out what the action plan is. What do I do about this, right? So, and that required, because every time you got to get on a phone with a lawyer, he'll give you information. And that information, it's not good to just use that lawyer's information. You should call a number of lawyers, get a bunch of different information, then say, okay, I want to do this. Call the lawyer that you liked the best, that you felt the best, that was from the best referral. Then you secure him and say, I'm going to pay you. Now let's go with this first action, right? So that whole process took at least another 2 months as well. So it was like a 4-month process before I actually did a legal movement. Yeah, I did a movement, yeah. So the first one, I think the first legal movement was to go to the court and get all the documents given, and then to file for something something to say that I'm aware of what's happened, and I've got legal help, and I'm working towards this. Like that was like.
But they would have never sent it to you if you didn't cross the border. I mean, what would have happened?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it would have arrived after 6 months or something.
Yeah. So looking at timelines, the problem that I had, and this is even the problem that I had last week when I did the final process to end the case, which now is done. The problem the court has is notifying its people, especially foreigners. It's a big problem. It's something that I've talked about the whole way through. Is because in the U.S. you're subpoenaed. They hire some runner, right?
Yeah.
Who comes after you.
They have to give it to you.
Once you take that in your hands and you're like, are you John Graham Harper? Yes. Once that's taken, they're like, you've been subpoenaed. So legally you have to say, you can't say that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Because you have the document in your hand, and they can leave. That never doesn't happen. They'll mail you something, and then they'll try to call you. Now, there's two problems with this. Number one, the mailing. I moved house. We all moved. I've moved house pretty much. I think just in the last 2 years, I haven't moved house. But usually every year I'd move house because the landlords hike the rent up. And I'm like, I'm not paying that much. I'm out. Peace. And I go off somewhere else, right? So I moved house, so I didn't get that letter if it was sent. I later found out that the plaintiff, put the wrong address, gave a wrong address. So can you imagine if I'm going to court with someone and I put the wrong address, I can almost you're never going to forget that document. I have the evidence of him giving the wrong address to give me the court document to say that I've been in a case. So that's a problem.
So what were you actually accused of, or what was the actual case about?
Yeah, the statement. So finishing up, the second thing, the problem with is getting a phone call. If I get a phone call and it was a missed call, right? Everything I just said, I've told the judge. I've told the judge, and I've told all the lawyer, anyone involved in a court. I've told them this. I said these you need to figure out. So the address thing. Now the call thing. If you called me once and I didn't answer, it's an unknown number. I'm likely to do that, and even Chinese people would do that. And I said honestly, you probably did try to call me, but I didn't answer. But are you just gonna call me once, and then he didn't answer, so that's it. Next process done. You should call me like 10 times a day for 10 days. Fuck, come on. Like, this is about money. This is about court. Like,
But even if you pick it up, another commercial.
That's down. If they pick it up, they should say John, like first word John. Like, but if somebody calls you that many times, you'll be like, what's going on? Like, this must be important.
Right.
If you call me once and I don't answer, and you're like, we've ticked the box on notifying him.
Job done.
Dude,
yeah,
come
man,
on.
what the fuck?
This is a big hole in the China legal system. Like, this you got to fix, because the phone is now everything. How else would we get notified? How else? Like, I'm trying to think. Like, okay,
they can come and see you to your office because you have a visa. They must know.
Yeah, outside of an in-person visit,
like phone, a subpoena in the US.
Because I can guarantee you, every human being has a phone. And maybe you don't have my WeChat, but you can find my number.
Yeah, and even I have a mailbox in my building. And I've never checked this mailbox in 10 years that I fucking lived there.
If they want to find you, they know how to find you.
Yeah, they're not hard to find.
If they say we don't have the resources to actually have someone go look for you, that's too much for the system. Say, just call me at least 5 times a day. Just keep calling me until I pick up. And if I pick up, just be like, John, hey, you need to adjust this. That doesn't cost anything. I know that doesn't cost anything. That's just redial, right? So I didn't know. But wait, what was your question? We'll segue to that.
What was the actual being accused of?
So the way that it was done is I took a loan for my assets. So it was 4 treadmills, 4 bikes, 1 rower, TVs, tables, chairs, plate load machines, dumbbells, chairs, yoga mats, everything.
Like equipment.
Everything, the entire business.
And you took a loan from this guy.
Yeah. So the statement that I believe that he put in was that the actual items weren't mine. So the asset list wasn't mine. That was it. So even though there's been a lot, I've been on countless podcasts. I've been on so much different media. I've spoken this whole story. I'm telling you right now, I don't think I signed a bad contract. I just didn't show up in court. That was it.
Oh, that was the main problem.
So a lot of people say, if I did show up in court and I knew what I know now, and you hire a lawyer, it's a fight. I've got this evidence. I've got lots of evidence at my house. I've got loads of evidence. I've even collected more evidence because I know all my members. I know all my trainers. I know everyone. I know everyone. I mean, that was my business, right? So all the evidence that I had, I just didn't have a chance to put it in court.
So by that automatically went on to the
so
next
past
level
the date.
of...
So when he put that statement in, I didn't address it. I didn't come to court. It kept going, and then but before we go on to that, there's a play that's made. This is the con, right? In the chapters of my book that's coming out, it's called "This is the Con." So what happens is if, say for example, if I sue Freddie, if I sue you, there's two things I can do: the long game or the short game. The long game is eventually it'll catch up to you, and you'll be in a lot of trouble because you're locked. The system's locked you, right? So you must do something. The short game is you have a problem. You need to fix it. What's the quickest way to fix it? China is 99.9% of the time, everything is under settlement. So you find out, you say, John, why the fuck did you sue me? You say, okay, you know what? Give me 50K and it goes away. I'll drop it if you give me 50K. You give me 50K, it's dropped, and I'll just go to the next one. All right. I'll do the same thing to him. I do the same thing. I keep going. But it'll catch up to you. Eventually it'll catch up because you're in that system and you have a timeline that you have to fulfill, right? So in a sense so I went when it goes to that long way, what happens is I was put, basically a period of time happened where the court then talked to immigration and told immigration to put my name on the blacklist, and so I couldn't leave the borders of China. That doesn't, a lot of people have called me, they've been like, I'm in a court case now, do I run that risk? If you have a lawyer who's aware of your system, you don't have to worry about that, because it takes a long time for that to go through. Okay. A very, very long time.
So somehow you were lucky that you ended up discovering at the border.
Well, it just meant that it was way past the time.
Yeah, but what if it didn't happen?
So the offense
then
wasn't
jailable. It would have gone on until when?
That's another problem that I've actually brought up directly to the court, and I've spoken to as well, about the notifications. So if I'm not notified, it changes the timeline, right? So if I'm notified late, but I only have a certain amount of time to appeal, that period of time is already passed because I was notified late. So that was another problem I said. I said, if you don't efficiently notify me, I can't give a correct response in time. Because when I going forward, the plan of action was to fight the case, right? That was the plan. It wasn't to pay, it was to fight the case. That was the money on my head. I said, this is wrong. I have the evidence and I can collect more evidence. I want to fight. Right? So the plan was to fight. The way to fight is I needed to get the case reopened. I couldn't reopen the case in the same court I was sued at. I had to reopen the case in a more superior court it's higher than that court. This is called the middle court of Shenzhen. It's in Futian. It's the big monster. That's the second most powerful court in all of Guangdong. Right? So I appealed there. But the appeal process, not only took a long time to gather all that evidence, but just to get it into the appeal, just to put it on the desk of all the files where they're looking through. Mine was at the bottom and I kept, every week I was like, how are we doing on the appeal? No, nothing, still nothing. So nothing was going on. It was like a year before the appeal was actually looked at. The appeal by that time was rejected. Because it passed the time. So yeah, the time factor was a big element in all of this. When, if I wasn't notified and I didn't make a plan, I didn't file a paper in these certain time blocks, 3 to 6 month blocks, you miss the opportunity to do things. And that is what, at the end, why I lost the appeal.
So basically it was like in a default place where okay, you missed your court day, you missed time to appeal, and now you're stuck in this, okay, you must have done something wrong, pay the amount of money.
Yeah, courts are very they're very bland. They're not it's just oh, you missed the appeal. It's done, closed.
Right.
It's How
much? So I'm just curious, how much was he accusing you of?
What was on my head? Also, there was 3 interest formulas that were used to calculate the amount, because my original amount was 217,000. Right, that's the loan I took. That was up on my head.
That's
right?
RMB, right?
RMB, yeah. But that there's interest added to that, and the interest is calculated on different things as well. So yeah, that I still don't even quite understand. Like I know what the number comes out to, but I still don't, because I'm not a mathematician.
How do they calculate it?
How they calculate it, yeah. But there's a way that they do it.
So the original amount was 200,000.
217.
By the time you hit the airport, you realized you had this case, and you understood the case. What was the amount that?
Oh, it was by that time. I'm not sure. No, I wasn't. I was only appealing, so I'm not even meeting the plaintiff's team or the judge or anything. Okay. I'm just appealing. Okay. So I wouldn't.
But the reason why he was saying that you own this money, you said before, saying that the equipment is not yours. Is it because something happened to these like equipment, because you moved them, because the guy took them away, or was it just the business dissolved, you didn't care, he didn't care?
Yeah, I mean, he ran the business for a considerable amount of time, and I have a lot of evidence of that. So I have evidence of him using my equipment to run a business that isn't mine. But I don't have evidence of him because when I take a loan and I give you assets, I need you to sign something saying that you received the assets. That I didn't get. I only have proof of the usage of the assets.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
Because it wasn't something. It was a gym. The machines never moved. Right.
It's like I'm taking over your business, but the asset in there
nothing
is officially
touches. Nothing changes. Everything stays exactly how it is. We just change the name, right? So that's kind of a little bit different.
The glitch.
It's a little bit different. And that, even if I did have that document, where I would stand right now, I wouldn't have used it. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to use it, right? So, yeah. And also another key thing is there was lots of paperwork that was involved in this transition, and a lot of it he didn't even put in his case. In his statement, everything, he missed out a lot of documents, which I had. Right? Which, if added to it, shows a bigger picture. And there's a couple of key ones. There's a very key document that when you read it, it's not in favor of him. It's more in favor of me. Yeah. Right? It's open up to interpretation. But these key documents, when you work with the legal system, it's any little key document is a key document. Anything that adds a question.
Of course.
And there's also what's called the logic of the law, where actions assume either a yes or a no. So yes, he didn't say yes, but by doing this action, that's him making an agreement. He is making the statement that it's an agreement, right? Yeah. But even though he doesn't sign a paper saying yes, right? The action says yes, right? So there's all these different things that I've now learned with these little intricacies to how law is played with. But law is it's all about, statements, what's written, evidence. There's nothing on the top, no flavor on top. There's not like, oh, but you're a bad person. Nobody cares. No one in the legal system cares. Or, you said this, or you said it in a mean way, or none of that matters. It's all about what is written down and what the math adds up to, what's on the time, and that's what you get.
Or provable actions. So he mainly did that to cause you troubles, to want the money back. He also closed the gym at a certain point, or
so I think he actually went into a court case with his landlord, with our old landlord. They're in a court case. So what happened was he didn't pay his rent. I'm assuming he couldn't run the business. It was hard. That's understandable. He got into a court case with the landlord, and the landlord took my equipment as collateral, and it's like gone in Hainan. And another funny thing is he himself is involved in a lot of cases, because everyone's online. You can research anyone, right? So I had my lawyers look up his name, and there's a lot of cases, and I've taken photos of all the other cases, and all the other cases relate to my case. So how's that for evidence? If I go in and I show, look, the plaintiff is involved in this case, and these documents from that, it's not even my case, it's some other case. These documents prove this.
Crazy.
So how crazy is that, right? The amount of evidence I collected even branched off into other cases that he was in.
So he wasn't trying to stop you from leaving China or do that kind of thing. He just wanted his fucking money.
I mean, a lot of people ask me about his personality, and we've all met
his personality. He just fucking.
He was a bit of a he's a sad.
He disrespected his face, and he got pissed off. And
he was this kind of person, and I believe he liked to have me in his life. He liked to have this sort of control in a weird sort of a little bit of a weight. There was a couple of things that happened over the years where I was like, dude, this isn't rational. Like, this is weird. Why did you say that's really, like, he would post on WeChat about me, on his moments about me.
Like in good and bad ways?
Yeah, like a bad way. Like, oh, this guy, I'm gonna get him.
He's dead.
Numerous times. I was like, man, nobody does that. Nobody does that.
So weird.
Unless you're a little bit obsessed. Like, I don't know. I'm like, let's just leave it at that.
So you
It's like
You-
that's
you-
what
you
my
waited for-
ex-girlfriend does. Like,
yeah, jealous lover. You went to go. You applied for the appeal. You got rejected. Then what happened?
the best part. Here we go. This is it. This is where it gets really nasty. So everything that I've done up to now is I've learned a lot about the case, right? I've learned a lot about the legal system, and I'm championing forward. I'm in a Batman movie, right? And
Fight for your right.
There will be justice, right? This is kind of where I'm seeing, and I'm appealing, and I'm just like, imagine if I get my day in court. And I'm, imagining these movies where I walk into court and I slam down the evidence, and I'm like, listen,
Your
and everyone's
Honor,
like, oh
ladies
my
and gentlemen
God,
of the
this
jury.
whole time, and I let him go, and I'm a free man. I don't know. This is what's all going on in my head, right? But so I'm appealing in the middle court, and then the Shanghai court. It got to a process where he, as the plaintiff, he has the right to access another court, which is called the enforcement court. And the enforcement court is that these are just straight up, they're like dogs. You tell them what to do, and they go and do it. So you pay a fee, and they act out the verdict. I think you have to check a lot of boxes. You have to fill a certain time, but you basically can recruit them to go after people to get your money.
They're part of the legal court system.
They are part of the legal court system. Yeah, it's called the enforcement court.
It's not like kind of like bondsmen. Who
No.
I mean, not
Guys that come out.
No, not James Bond. Like jail bonds.
Jail bonds. Yeah.
They come. They
it's
you.
an official court. Like badges, everything shows that So I'm at an event. I'm at a fight night event at a gym, just up north from my office, right close to my office, 10 minutes from my office. And this is a boxing gym, right? So we're getting all the fighters, right? Everyone's showing up. I'm in the ring. Okay, welcome everybody, ladies and gentlemen. 4 court representatives walk in and 4 cops walk in. They're walking, and I'm like, okay, what the... must be someone a little shady around here. And they come straight up to me and they said, "Are you John Graham Harper?" And I was like, well, yes, but you can't possibly be looking for me. And they're like, yeah, we want you. I was like, fuck. Everyone's like, what's going on? So I go out, and they're like, you're coming with us. And I said, no, I'm not going anywhere. You have to tell me exactly what's happening. Like every single point, you have to tell me. And I'll call my lawyer, and we'll have. And they said, okay, let's go have a discussion. We're gonna go to a room. So we're in a gym, and we're in a side room that's for like the trainers, right? So we come in. And this is
It's a movie scene.
This is probably the most tensest night I've ever had, right? So we sit down, and the conversation is, you're going to jail tonight. That's what they were saying. They kept saying it. You're going to jail tonight. You're going to jail tonight. You're going to jail. And I was like, I'm not going to jail. I will sleep here. I'm not going to jail. This is my chair for the day. I'm chair for the night, and I will figure this out. And it was like, no, you owe this money. And I would say, I've made this appeal. I would show evidence on my phone. Look at this. They don't care about it. They were like, that's a separate thing, that we're in enforcement court. We're acting out a verdict. What you do in the middle court is your business. That's something else. It's like a whole nother case. It's an entire new case. So none of that mattered. So I realized that this night was about, it very quickly became known that it was about money. Like this is a payment deal that has to be made here. So I'm talking. There's the judge. Her name was Huang Yeying.
So one of the girls is like a judge.
Yeah, Huang Yeying is the enforcement judge. I've been dealing with her for a year and a half. A year and a half. I've been dealing with this one. So Huang Yeying was there with the other court representatives and the cops around me. There's a translator here, and then one of the court representatives who speaks English is right by me, and he just kept saying, "You're going to jail. anything. I was like, well, what if I do this? Then you're going to jail. He just kept saying, I was like, what's wrong? Get away here.
Just go out.
Yeah. And I was like, you can't take me to jail unless you inform my embassy. And they're like, we already informed your embassy. And they're like, yeah, we can take you to jail for 15 days and hold you. And I was like, oh, yeah. It's detention. It's an area, a holding area where we would make a decision, right? So basically, that in retrospect, what I assume it was, but I never figured that out. So that's yet to be figured out by somebody else. But I left that room after 3 hours, and
somebody else took over your emceeing.
Yeah, I gave the phone to my event manager, and I said, "This is it. You got to do this. Like that's it." Like, and it was so funny because I was asking. I said, "Can we do this later? Because I want to finish the event." And they were like, "No." And I was like, "Let me finish the event, and I'll come back in." They're like, "No." And like it was interesting at the beginning how I kept trying to do the event, and then after an hour I was like, I don't think I'm not doing. Forget the event. I gotta just get out of here. I was like, dude, priorities completely changed. Forget the event. You guys will figure each other out. Just beat each other up. How hard can it be? I gotta figure out how to not get in jail, right? So I was talking, and there was all these negotiations because you can have somebody sign for you, saying they'll promise, right? There's all these different things you can do. Because I was saying, what are my options? Lay them out for me. So what can I do? And they were like, yeah, you must pay this money. And I said, what if I had somebody sign? And they're like, okay, where's their ID from? Certain IDs can, certain IDs can't.
Like, so, what part of China they're from?
Yeah, what part of China? Like, if they're a Shenzhen resident, yes, but outside, no. But maybe like
a Hunan person could.
Yeah. Or if
Sichuan person couldn't.
I was like, what if it was a Beijing guy, or what? And it all depends. And I realized that he was one of the court, not the judge, but the guy was kept calling. And he would go off, and he would go behind me back here, and he would be calling. And he'd come back, and he'd say, no, you can't do that. And I'd say, okay, what about this? And then he'd go off. And I realized, he's calling the plaintiff. We're negotiating. So I was like, okay. And I said, okay, well, and then I started directly to ask him this, ask him this, ask him this. And all of this was happening to where he said, come up. He said, just come up to the second floor. And I was like, what? The guy's here? And I was like, he's here? And he was like, yeah, he'll come. And I was like, motherfuckers. And that's when I got, it changed a bit, because I was like, okay, you shouldn't have come here. He knows where my office is. I put that shit everywhere. It's all online. Everyone knows where my office is. So he got you to come here to my event just to embarrass me. And he is here. Like, he's such a conniving little lowlife that he was like, let's not go to his office where we're guaranteed to find him.
Let's do it on purpose during the fucking event.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the event.
Yeah, let's go right in the middle of the event and come in and do it right there. Even I'm 10 minutes away from I could not be closer to my office. I could walk to my office. It was so like, whoa. Like, I was like, and then I asked, like, I was like, is this normal behavior by enforcement? And they were like, they don't answer. Like, they cannot say. But I realized, I was like, yeah, I guess enforcement is an institution that pushes pressure. It's pressure. It's about pressure. So yeah, of course, I feel pressured here. If you came to my office, maybe I would feel less pressure. I still feel pressure, but less pressure, right? So he kind of came in, and I was just like, I was ready to throw it. Like, I was like, you little 4-year-old child, what are you doing? Like, this is how you decide to spend your life. Like, I'm out here. Fucking, you know my WCFN story, and here I am. You catch me on an event, just what are you trying to achieve here? But then he was like, "Don't talk. You're not allowed to talk. Don't talk to each other." So I was like, "Okay, back to negotiating. What about this? What about this? No." And it basically came down to a payment plan of $50,000 that night, and $20,000 every month for 15 months. That was the only thing that would have been agreed. If that wasn't signed, I couldn't leave.
So wait, 50,000 total?
50,000
against 15 days in jail.
That day, and 20 grand for 50 months.
Against 15 days in jail.
15. Yeah. So that was what was. Eventually, there was like my business partner came in. He was no help. I was like, get out. Like, I got to do this on my own. And unless you have a strategy meeting and talk and figure out how you're going to do this, I got to just do this by myself. I called my lawyer, and she was like, call your embassy. Like, I was like, all right. So
lawyers not useful.
Lawyers, I was like, yeah, it's like, I don't know how much you guys are paid, but definitely you're getting too much. So that was what was agreed. Now the 50 grand, it's a magical story. That was when UFC came to Shenzhen. UFC came to Shenzhen
last
because
year.
I was like, can I pay you tomorrow? I can hustle some money. 50. Who the fuck has 50K just to put? No one has 50K. Can you give me 50K? Who the fuck has that? Like, come on. Even if I asked like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, one of those two fuckers, they'd be like, no, we don't.
You
I don't
cannot
have
even
50K.
cash it at the ATM.
Like
in one day,
I have to move money around. I've got to borrow some here, make some, and I'll put it together. But give me a day. No one has 50K just to. Unless you got a rich mommy and daddy, right? Let's all be honest there, right? So I didn't have a rich mommy and daddy, so I didn't have 50K. But UFC came to town, and UFC said, John, you're our official local promoter. So people pay you for tickets, and then you pay us. So once I made that notification, everyone was buying tickets, and I had 50K in my WeChat wallet.
This was before or after?
Before the UFC.
No. So during the night when you're in the training room negotiating with the guy and the enforcement judge, you had already
met with UFC
and already promoting and selling tickets.
Yes. So UFC actually saved my ass because the event was later. I could figure out how to get the money later.
Right.
But that night I couldn't leave the fucking room without paying 50K. So
you sold 50K of UFC tickets.
Yes. And I was like, there, my WeChat, bam. And I got up and then
holy shit.
And so forever, I'm like, UFC, I love you guys. Can you imagine? Because I was just like, and I looked, I was like, oh yeah, UFC.
It was like a sudden temporary loan.
Yes. Because it was like 2 more months until the event. And 50K, I was like, I'll figure out how to do that. I will, that is, you give me a day, I can beg, borrow, steal. Like I can figure it out, right? So, but that I'll never forget. I was like, oh, look at that, UFC. You saved, they really saved my ass. That's like something that obviously I'd never told UFC.
It's like a godsend. And now they might find out.
I was like, thank you. Yeah, I'll send him this video. But it was funny. Some little things that were, one thing is the translator wasn't a certified translator. One thing it would, so anyone who's in a situation where enforcement comes after you, you are allowed to have a legal translator. Translator has to show a certain certificate saying that they are like a legal translator, because anyone who speaks Chinese and English is not a translator.
Right.
They interpret it differently, and law, everything's down to the word. So when the enforcement contract was written, if you look at it, it's so funny. It's like 3 pages of Chinese pages and half a page, 1 paragraph of English, which he wrote.
Yeah, as if.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I'll sign that, right? And later that bit me in the ass. So I was thinking like, okay, if I got to pay 20K, yeah, I'll figure out how to do that. But then I'm also making the appeal. So this is before the appeal was rejected. So I was thinking, okay, if I make the appeal and it goes through, then the enforcement stops. That was the plan.
That was your logic.
Yeah. But then later on, yeah, of course the appeal was rejected, and then it was just down to finishing the enforcement. So what happened, the final thing that fucker threw at me was he says on the final date that I was going to pay, so I paid, everything done, boom, finished.
So wait a second. So you paid the 50,000 and you did all the monthly payments.
Yep.
And you had one last payment to do.
One last thing he throws at me.
But during this time, your appeal got rejected.
Yeah.
Right.
In the other court. Yep.
In the other court, in the middle court, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then boom, you had one last payment, and then
and then that's when it's supposed to be over. I fulfilled my payment contract, so it should be finished. So I told the lawyers, tell the judge, payment's done, all happy days, let's get it done, finished, let's get that, let's move on now, right? They then say, the lawyers respond saying, they said, the plaintiff said you were late paying several times, therefore he is entitled to the full amount from the original verdict contract, not the payment one, the original one. But he'll let you go with just 20K. So 20 more extra K.
You just really want to bustle your balls.
Yeah. Like I was like, this obsession is going way too far. Like this is super annoying.
Crazy.
So I was thinking like, okay, this is something that I have to figure out. Now the lawyers, I felt that they, like my relationship with the lawyers is a little bit tense because of certain things that they forgot. there was a few mistakes that they made, and it's something you can't really get angry at a lawyer, because a lawyer, when you sign with a lawyer, they say, hey, I'll do my best, but if shit happens, shit happens, right? But the whole enforcement court, this building is massive. It's double the size of this building.
Crazy.
It's huge. We could go there and it's a big, black, gross, Gotham-looking dungeon. It's horrible, right?
Scared you.
And this whole building, I didn't even know existed. I only thought there were courts and lawyers. There's law firms and everything's settled in these courts. I didn't know there was an enforcement court, an entire building that's not even devoted to figuring out who's right or wrong. In that court, it's just who's wrong.
Just actions.
Yeah, it's just like, go get him. Okay, Monday, we're going to go get these two guys. That's what they do, right? We got to go fly to this place, get this right? That's what enforcement is, right? So I didn't even know that building existed, much less did I know that they could come after me in that way. And that the lawyers should have told me about. Because if I had known that, my strategy, when I was writing the strategy, we had a lot of strategy meetings of options, right? My strategy would have been completely different. Very, very different of the approach.
You didn't know this was an option.
Yeah, I didn't know that he could do that. If they said, there is an enforcement court, and if he does this, he'll come after you, and you're fine.
But he can only activate the enforcement court because you were delinquent in the middle court.
No, they had no relationship. I think the plaintiff could. I'm not sure when he's legally allowed to activate them, at what time. But he has that power.
It wasn't like you were delinquent and you missed the court date and you missed all the timeline for the middle court, and so now this case was able to move into enforcement court.
Well, with the Shanghai court. So the middle court is the appeal. That court was useless. But the Shanghai court, yes, I believe that there is a timeline it goes under to where it then a notice is sent to the plaintiff that says you're now able to activate enforcement.
Right.
I think so. I don't think
beyond whether it is an appeal or not in parallel.
Yeah, because people
an execution from the
but the appeal and they have no relationship with each other.
But you can't I can't go to the enforcement court and go, look, Freddie owes me fucking $100 for a taxi last night.
Yeah. You have to have a case.
No, there must be a case.
Yeah, have to be a case where it goes, sour and it reaches a certain,
by the system,
certain
it's not
point.
by the people.
Yeah. And that case must probably have to reach a certain maturity that kind of gets filed, and okay, you're now eligible for enforcement. That would make sense. Yeah. But yeah, like what he did was he asked for this 20, right? And so I was thinking like, okay, I don't like I was saying with the lawyers, I'm not like those lawyers. I was like, okay, I feel like I will try it on my own. Before I get you to do anything, I'll do my best on my own. So I actually went to the enforcement court. So that was what was thrown at me while I was doing that last event. And I knew I was like, do I get a lawyer to do this? Do I? But then I have to pay that lawyer. I have to write a deal, and they wanted like $8,000 or something. And I was thinking like, at this point in time, who is in charge? How much negotiating is there done? What do I actually need you for? I met the lady, the judge before, not just on that night, but I did go to the enforcement court after, and I did try to negotiate with her. So I already knew all the people, and I was like, it was kind of a hunch looking back, but I just didn't want to pay that $8,000. I was like, I can't. I've lost money on this event. Like obviously. My girlfriend's like, get your shit together. And I was like, okay, I'll figure this out. I'm like, the last thing I'm going to do is pay for a lawyer to go do something that I probably can do. So I went into the enforcement court, and she came down, and I was like, this isn't right. I don't, and she explained the whole thing to me. And after she explained it, like after so many hours and me with all my different arguments, I was like, isn't this blackmail? Like I actually went to police stations. I went to a legal police station. It's not like a common police. And I said, this is blackmail. That's straight up blackmail. It's a lie. He's blackmail. And they're like, no, you can't do it. Like I was rejected from all the cop stations. I just had to go back to the court. So she was like, no, the way it works is this. And she did this. And she painted this whole thing. Then after that, I went to ask, do you know Mike Michelini? Mike Michelini. He's like an online e-commerce guy.
Amazon guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, well, because he's given me some resources throughout this entire time. And he said, hey, just talk to my lawyer. And I met and I got some free advice from her. And a couple of things that she brought out was just the logic of the law. So I was late 2 times by 1 day. Actually,
this is what the Michael's lawyer was telling you?
Yeah. Michael's lawyer. And actually, speaking to anybody, if anyone needs a lawyer, I highly would recommend her.
Okay.
Just because of the amount that she gave and the way she was very personally invested into my cause, without like she even said, this process you don't need a lawyer for. I'll just tell you what to do. Do this. Go say this. Go say this. And even when I was there with the judge, she was messaging me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, and she's not on we don't have a contract at all. Like she was just helping.
Like committed to the cause.
Yeah, she's an amazing person. And the way that she looked at the whole process was much more advanced than I would see other lawyers. A lot of lawyers, they say, oh, that's wrong, let's do this. But what you need is someone with a very big bird's eye view and who looks at it and
look at everything, connect the dots.
Yeah. It's kind of like, in those CIA shows where you see the top dog detective. The way he speaks, I have a lot of confidence in what she knows. She has like she knew what the fuck she was doing. So I wish I had met her earlier. Probably would have made a lot of difference. Yeah. But yeah, that's how it is with people, right? And that's something. What's good about getting this content out is if anyone's like, hey John, I watched that podcast. Can I get that lawyer? Then yes, that's part of my job now going forward is clearly outline the mistakes I made, clearly outline the process. And if anyone is in any little portion of it or has any little situation happen that is similar, I could be like, well, I tried those 3 things.
Right.
And I found I should have done that, but I did this one.
Especially for a foreigner in China, I mean.
It is the biggest mammoth whale of a challenge that we have to overcome is the China legal system. And it is something that a lot of people have gotten used to where they just end up paying. They're just like, I don't want to deal with the stress. We'll just pay it. It's just in our budget. How much we earn, we take that off and we use it to pay off people. Some people do it that way. I understand. I understand. Which is what I ended up doing, right? I ended up just paying this $20K and getting it done. Because at the end of that discussion, I realized with the first discussion I had with the lawyer, with the judge, was like, not only will I have to pay that 20, but I'll be lucky if I pay that 20. Because
if it's
you mean only the 20?
Yeah, if it was just a 20, I was actually shit, that's actually, can I just pay the 20, right? Because if it didn't, not only would the case not close, probably a new payment contract would have had to been signed, which have been a lot more time and obviously a lot more money. The whole thing would have happened again, and that would have taken, who knows, maybe another 3, 4, 5, 6 months, right? So I was like, pay the 20K.
I do not, because maybe then at the end of the story is different. But what I hope is that if at a certain point the parallel appeal thing got in, and then you're winning, you're supposed to get this money back.
Yes.
The hero ending, but I want to know what happens.
No, the hero ending is very different. But yeah, like
so you. But wait a second. We're at the point of the story is Michael gave you the lawyer contact. Mm-hmm. She gave you advice. You're in the courtroom with the judge. He's messaging you, and then what happened?
Yeah. So the second time I visited, I came with this argument. I said I'm late 2 times.
So you were actually late paying
2 times by 1 day.
For 1 day.
10 hours, right? And I said if I was late, the reasons I was late, I even brought the evidence why I was late. I was like, oh, my parent company didn't pay my monthly fee. Like I wasn't paid. Like, but that they were like, we don't care about that, right? So I said, okay, if I was late, logically, because the time passed and I paid, if I paid late, he should have called the court and said he was late. He broke the contract, it's broken. The contract is now garbage, and now it goes back to the old verdict with the 3 equations, which is based on time and based on the appeal date, blah blah blah, all this, right? So if he didn't make that call, it means he accepted because I paid again and I kept paying. Now the payments change the formula because when the contract is closed, a new number comes out.
Should come out, yeah.
But if I pay again, that new number changes. And if I pay again, the new number keeps changing. So he accepted it both times because he didn't raise up a stir. And then the final payment, the one that I made.
But just sorry to interrupt you. You were actually paying the enforcement court, which would pay him.
No, I actually paid him directly.
Directly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he would have bing seeded. Oh, it's late. Immediate call. go after John. You need to find him, call him. He broke the contract, blah, 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 right? Now, that's what he should have done. And a new equation, a new contract, it would have all started again. But he didn't. So he let it go through, which means he accepted it. So he by non-action means acceptance, right? So the final payment wasn't 20K, because in the number that was settled on that day before UFC, the final payment would have been 10K. Now, the third acceptance is when if a 10K came into his bank account that wasn't 20, again, he should have said he was late those other times. Based on the equation, this would be more than 10K. It just would be more. How much more, I don't know. But by accepting the 10K, it meant he accepted. So these three exceptions, I brought to the court, to the judge. And the judge, it was so funny. It was so like, this is the legal system, right? the judge, because the judge is the last person. There's no one behind her. This is it, right? So she goes, oh yeah, he did call me. And I was like, he called you?
Seriously?
He called you? Why didn't you tell me before? I visited you. We've been talking about this. Why are you telling me? Like, he obviously didn't call you. Come on. But you don't argue with the judge. That's what you know. So she goes, he did call me, but I told him not to bother you because you are trying to make the payments. So in one sentence, my whole argument that I had prepared and I had documented, I had all this evidence ready that I was advised by Mike's lawyers, right? She was just like threw it off the table. I was like, okay, yeah, we're back. And I said, okay. And like we were standing there and my business partner was there and he was like, what if we paid the 20K today? And she was like, huh? And she called the plaintiff and she was like, yep. And it was done. The moment we like stopped negotiating and we said we're willing to pay today, everything changed. It was literally like a 2-hour wait for the payments and everything. And then an hour wait, I had to wait for the final piece of document. The final document that said it's over. And that, I was like, I'm not leaving until I get that. So it went into lunchtime. And she was like, okay, I'll print it for you. Like, I'll do.
And that was 2 days ago.
I'm not leaving. Yeah, and that was Christmas Eve. So that's where it closed off. So that's the victory. Cheers. Yes.
Cheers. But this is the closing off.
Yeah.
Now, if the appeal goes on, or if you want to make
the appeal was rejected. Appeal's done.
Basically, it's done because you decide to pay. The water is down.
Yeah, I have a lot of evidence to put a case against him, to start a new case. I have that. And Mike Michelini's lawyer and another lawyer that I was introduced by her, she said you could do that because she overviewed all the evidence I collected. And she said the amount of evidence that you have, you could do this. You could sue him on this. There's one thing I could do, which would work. It would work. But I was like,
do you want to go back?
Do I want to do this? And I was like, I probably don't. I don't mind keeping the evidence. Like, who knows? But I just, for the time being, I want to be a break.
I know. I mean, I understand you. I understand you well. I had my past in a similar story. It lasts less, but I guess that when you go through all this, you have something against that person anyway, and lawyers, either you need to pay them, or they need to see what they can get.
That's it.
And even in my business once, I didn't want to go after a client, but I didn't want to spend money with a lawyer. But I know that the lawyer, if you want to say, look, I don't want to lose my time anymore, you can make 200,000 claim back out of this. If you want to go after him, please do it. Whatever you take is yours.
It's funny you say that because
and then
a couple of people have told me that. They're like, why don't you get all the evidence and just give it to her and just say it's your
case. Do it.
Then she probably would do it like, well, okay, I'll do it on my spare time, right? So it's like a side hustle. And then in the end, she's paid a couple $100K, right? She's like, cool, sweet. Yeah. It's funny you say that because actually a lot of people have told me that. A couple of people have said that. Like, why did you just
just go to fuck with them?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the win out of the whole story is quite interesting. And I'd say the first thing that comes to mind, like I always want to end on a high note with this, is number one.
I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it was a win for you. It was what you paid less money than the original settlement, right?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of the original settlement, like it's like the difference, like how much I got off was like 30K, 30 something K.
But you had lawyer fees, you had time fees, you had
so it's a good $500,000 done. But I always think about this. I'm always thinking like, you know, how I think I have to think bigger, because if you don't, you'll go crazy. Right. If you don't, you'll go crazy. That's what I like. If I look at all the gritty details, I'll be one of those angry dudes that's in the bar in my my late years and just be like, God damn it, motherfucker, they took from me, fuck you. You know, the knife. Yeah, should have got that motherfucker. You know, like that guy that's like never got over his divorce. You know, that old man that's kind of like, you know, it's like he always drinks in the same diner between 9 and 2. You know, it's like, you know, and then I'm finally gonna snap and I just go out and, you know, do something stupid, right? I don't want to be that guy, so I have to. Something I learned, the skill that I learned was turning it into a positive,
right? And
really emphasize and faking it, even faking the positive. You got to do this, or else it'll eat you inside and you'll hate everyone, right? You could not, when all of this was happening, and most people would just, you get pent up in anger, and when you're angry, you're not smart. You do stupid things. So you gotta be careful with your energy. You gotta be very like conservative. You know, make sure you take care of the people that are supporting you. Give them a lot of love. Keep, you know, because they're helping you, right? They're your backbone, and then just slowly, step by step, you know, eat away at it. And looking back, I actually really, it sounds so cheesy to say, and I don't want to be the one saying this like years in the future, but I actually really appreciated this whole process, because not just the lessons learned, but just the way you attack problems. Just like nothing scares me now. It's crazy. It's like I'm just like, I probably will be able to figure it out. There's always a way to figure something out, and I think that's something more valuable than people think. You know, they think that you can't. Yeah, the money I ate over time. Like, sure, if it was a big chunk of money, that would have been like, shit, I got to sell a liver, right? Oh, fuck me. Wait, do I have a liver? One liver. Sell a kidney. I got 2 of those, right? But when you eat the money over time, the way I broke it down is 20K is 4 5K hustles. So every month I had to do 5 things that gave me each 5K. 5K is not too much. It's not too little. There's always something you can do that's just one 5K hustle. And once that 5K hustle's in, you're like, next one. I didn't borrow any money for this. And I didn't eat into my own like current income, because that's paying my rent, that's paying all my other shit. I had to create that. And I think, like, imagine if the bill was higher. What if I could create more? Like, I just created it.
The trigger.
I created it. Yeah. And I had people that were like, some guys made some good money doing shit, and they said, "Do you want me to pay? Do you want me to help?" And I was like, "No. I don't need the handout, because if you give me that, I'll be lazy, and if I'm lazy, then I'm fucked, because all of this would have happened. I now have a friend who I owe, and that relationship sucks, and all it was is because I was lazy, right? That's kind of how I saw it. Guys with a lot of, like, some dudes, like, so many times they were like, "Dude, let me just pay it for you." Like, I remember it was like 60K was left. And he was like, "Dude, let me just pay it for you. You owe me. You just owe me." And I was like, no. The reason you're saying that to me is the relationship we have is this, like this. The moment you lend me that money, it changes. There's a different power equation. And we're not mates anymore. There's something weird. And even though you're like, don't worry about it, in your head, you're like, is that motherfucker ever going to pay me back? Right. And I don't, and it's COVID. I was like, why am I, like, it's a payment plan. Let me pay the guy out. There's nowhere I'm going to run off to. I don't need to go and see my folks or I don't need, it's COVID. Everybody's stuck. So let's just get these 5K hustles. Let's keep busy, you know, let's keep smiling. And then when it's done, then it's done, right?
Wow.
If COVID didn't come, that would have really sucked, right? Because everyone's off seeing family and traveling around. And I'm like, fuck, I'm stuck here, right?
You're stuck here anyway. Boom.
And then if, say, like, some big trip had happened, then I'd be like, dude, can you pay me? Because I got to go on that trip. Or I want to go, you know, see that show.
Dubai or,
yeah. Like, my parents we're all doing some reunion or some shit, right? That could have happened. But it was COVID. No one was moving. You know, so I was like, why am I paying him early? I don't need to get off the blacklist early. I just keep paying. Once it's done, then.
And also the fact that the others couldn't get into China, maybe you had more opportunities because you were one of the few stuck here.
That's right. So, yeah, I mean, I did every kind of gig. Anything, it was just yes. It was like, hey, John, we have a yes, yes. What time? Let's go. And you just get so into this mood, like of getting busy, and you realize like, it's, imagine if you're just always busy. That's why some motherfuckers are so well off. This motherfucker just made million. Yeah, because that's what they just do. They don't need a court case to push them.
Right.
That's why I like the court cases, because these dudes wake up at 7, like Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is like he's my dude. I listen to him every day, right? And he's like, get up early, get after it. And you think about, yeah, sure. But I was like, yeah, I just got to do that. You just do that. And yeah, the court case, all of that's the motivate. That's what's hustling you, right?
It's just a trigger.
Yeah. And the challenge now is to keep doing that, right? So that's where I'm kind of thankful for, is like, if you have that pressure, if you really, something's on top of you, like the China fucking legal system, you'll be like, okay, let's do it, right? And you get strong. You really get strong. I learned so much from this. Like I even had a guy, a really good friend of mine, he was gonna fight in the event, but he wanted to take his kids traveling or something. He came to me and he said, I know about your story. Can I get some advice? And he told me all about his case. And all of it, I understood everything. I was like, I get it. I know. I've been there. I did that one. Yeah, I tried that one. I know. I did that one. I'll tell you a story. Take this. And I did and once I painted the full picture for him, he was like, oh, okay. So if I go to a lawyer, I need to focus on these 2 things. I was like, yeah, I think so. I think just do those. And it was a back and forth conversation. And now he's like halfway done his case. Like I was like, yes, if you're able to not only just turn it into a positive, but you share the information so people can learn from it. Shit, imagine how many people are going to benefit. Maybe not in a massive way, but at least in a little tiny way. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Man.
Yeah.
Cool, crazy.
So
now at least, if of course despite COVID now officially is closed, eventually you could
2 weeks
get out of here.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right.
It's all done. 2 weeks. I'm no blacklist.
So let's say.
So do you have to go to immigration office and prove?
No, I don't. Like, I'm not even allowed to. I don't even have the authority.
What, to go to immigration?
Yeah. The court does all the communication with immigration for me.
And then
they'll just notify me.
They'll just clear it up. And so you're gonna in 2 weeks you're gonna notify us.
But I'm not gonna go anywhere, right? No one's going anywhere. But it was like and that's the thing. If you're in sort of these situations, you make a decision based on the cost of that decision versus the return. And maybe the return isn't necessarily a get something back, but your stress goes down.
Right.
You're like, or your time is saved. And that nobody can make those decisions for you. So anyone,
not even the lawyer, they will give you suggestions.
Exactly. A lawyer's responsibility is to give as big a picture as possible. Like when we were doing strategy, it was a full wall, all written, and I would just look at it like and try to calculate potential times and how much it would cost me. That's if you get really involved in your court case, your decision making is better, because the decisions you make necessarily mean you spend less money, but it means that decision, overall you'll save somewhere. You can always do a cost analysis on any little thing. And lawyers are really good at just going. They're just like, let's do this, do this. And you're like, man, if I just do that, I don't have to do all that. Maybe that's the best route, right? Maybe I just do this one thing. Like I don't want to be trapped in this whole system forever, right? So, it's not. There's always like a light at the end of the tunnel. There's one thing for people listening. There's a movie called I think it's called Mars with Matt Damon. Did you watch that one?
No.
Matt Damon, he goes to Mars, right?
Yeah.
And he's on Mars.
Yes,
he's working.
Yes.
And shit blows up, and he like fixes stuff, and shit blows up, and something happens. Like all this shit, he's stuck on Mars, right? And then eventually he figures out, and he gets back to Earth, and he's giving a lecture at the very end. And this I always in my head, I always remember this scene. But he gives and he says like the way you get through it is like you go to sleep, you wake up, and you just tackle the first thing and the next thing and the next thing and next thing. And then finally you end up coming home. And it actually is just that. It's just that. Like on the day of the case, you just think like, what's the first thing I got to do? And you just do that, then that. And you don't think about the other stuff because it's such a big thing, right?
True, right?
But if you just hit the little ones.
A little one at a time.
Yeah, then eventually you get to come back to Earth.
Like crazy story. Well, listen, for the 2021 ahead, seeing the end of this crazy story that lasted more or less 3 years, I guess. Now?
Yeah, almost 4 years, almost 4 years.
And seeing that 2020 has been a hard year for everyone, 3 things you're looking forward or you want to achieve or you want to get for 2021.
Yeah, so WCFN is like my hobby kind of thing, right? It's not really a revenue generating business. There are potentials like, selling merchandise and stuff. So I do want to explore that, a more commercialized version of WCFN. But probably my biggest focus now is I've started a company in the US that is a fitness platform.
All right.
And we're going into beta testing in January. That's going to be my big thing. So actually, this business, my partner, I've known this guy for years. He went to my very first gym like 12 years ago, right? He came to me and he he knows my whole story. And he was like, I admired this sort of attitude. Let's do a business together. So even if out of all of this mess, just the fruition of this one business comes through, that is something that I'm very, very passionate about. He's passionate about. We have 2 partners in the US everyone's passionate about this. Even if it gets to a 10th of what we aspire it to be, it's already a massive win.
Right.
Massive, massive win. And if the case and my hustle and the way that I was moving so much to get noticed by this old friend of mine to then come to me, I didn't go to him, he came to me and said, let's do a business. If that alone, I'm happy as a pig in shit. Like I'm
cool.
So the final thing, I think the final thing,
But get out of here, I guess.
yeah, I mean, travel is always something that everyone wants to do, but I think the final thing to close on would be, I don't want to say like China's a bad place. China has its, your business, for example, China's extremely good, right? China has its place, and bad things happen, but it doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm still confident in China, in what is coming, and I do want to stay here. I think I might get married next year too. So.
Wow, that's a good news. Well, good luck for a new business, for the marriage, and hopefully for December 2021, or anyway, let's say next winter, there's gonna be still a end of the year white fight color night.
Yes.
I guess. All right.
Yes.
And
Maybe
if it's so, we were thinking, since it's also gonna be 1 year anniversary of Designer, I think I want to fight the fat ass Sherry guy here.
It's true.
Yes.
So you got to be lenient on the weight.
Yeah, for sure.
So would you suggest me getting fat or he losing some pounds?
I think you should get fat.
Yeah.
That's the easier part.
Well, the thing is actually how you both have an advantage. You can dance around, but he's one punch knockout.
Exactly. That's what he doesn't understand.
You got to move around.
It's like the bear with a bee.
So if we want to fight, you put us on the card. We'll promote the fuck out of it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay.
But we want to be like an opener or early fight.
An earlier fight, so you can relax afterwards. Yeah.
I don't want to close.
Yeah, yes.
Also, it's gonna be a couple of months of training that we are gonna make a kind of doc about it.
I've got a meeting. Well, my girlfriend has a meeting.
But you understand, it's a year from now. We're not talking about the next one.
Yeah.
We're talking
next
yeah,
December.
please. Yeah.
But for my girlfriend has a meeting with DD China, and DD China took interest in the event, so she's like semi-sold on doing another fight night. So if we're meeting them on the 29th, I think it's Monday. Is that Monday? No, it's Tuesday.
29th?
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
So we'll see how that goes and how that kind of creates more opportunities. But if you've done an event for DD China, by December next year,
man, of course.
I'll be doing an event for Huawei. Like you'll have, or DJI. DJI will be like, okay, we'll do the first, and they'll do like a DJI show. With
all
the boxing
the drones
gloves
and shit.
Yes. Yeah. So there's hope. Cool. There is hope.
All right, man.
Cool.
It's been real.
Thank you, John.
I'll see you at the fucking
see you, Piach.
Fight night. You'll be fucking crying.
December fight night. Yes.
Great story.
Great story.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
See you very soon, and Happy New Year then.
Oh, yes.
And cheers.
The sign R.
And
Out.
for everyone, please like and subscribe us. We'll share all the info about John Graham, new business, Instagram socials, platforms, WFCN, and everything else somewhere down here in the descriptions. And
Nice. Somewhere here.
Thank you, John.
Here.